Okay, meeting is now streaming live from YouTube, it says. Uh,
Oh,
let's see.
well, we're on here. I just can't.
Yeah, I can't see squat. That's what happened last time. I'm like, the
I
hell?
got it. All right, let's begin.
All right.
Infernal greetings, infernal blessings to all. Welcome this evening to a fabulous discussion. Thoughts and musings, as always. Thoughts and musings. I hear echoing somewhere. All
That would be me.
right.
There we go.
Thoughts and musings on the left-hand path. Thoughts and musings on the left-hand path. Apotheosis. Apotheosis. What is apotheosis? We hear this word a lot on the left hand path. We probably drown ourselves in the word because it sounds wonderful. What's up? What's up, brother? All right. So it sounds wonderful and sounds deep when we say apotheosis. We're using Greek, and Greek is signified as such a wise and you know amazing culture and civilization. Yeah, sure. But the point is that when we look at the word apotheosis, what does it really mean? There's a lot of different authors who've given a lot of different descriptions. I'm going to give a definition. I'm going to have Demetrius read another definition. And we're going to go from there and discuss apotheosis as it relates to the left hand path. Now, essentially, what is apotheosis? Okay. The word itself simply means to become a god. Comes from the Greek, and it comes from apotho and theos. Apotho to become, theos like a god. All right. Now, in this, it symbolized the genius or the daemon or demonic self. Now, the word itself, daemon, not demon, but daemon, is from the Greek as well. Okay. And in the Greek, what does it mean? Simply is your true self, your genius self, your intelligent, higher conscious self. This is what it relates to. Okay. We look at this, and the definition is very straightforward, self explanatory. But what does it really mean to achieve apotheosis? What does it really mean? Okay. Hold on. Uh, Let me reintroduce my brother who's coming on here. Some of y'all may remember him, some of y'all may not. I'm waiting to uh here he is. All right. Let's make sure his audio is working. So some of y'all who've been around with myself, Beniti, for a long time. This brother who will be showing up here, right here, this brother here is Mus. But back in the days, y'all knew him as a Sargiti from the Awakening Universal Mind show. All right. Now y'all gonna see how he really looks. He looks like a bushman straight from Africa. But anyways, that's another story. All right. So the brother is here and he will be in this discussion this evening. All right. So for all who remember, once again, from the Awakening Universal Mind show, this is a Sargiti, aka reincarnated as Satukhmus. All right. So he's here live and direct in today's time. So that's how he looks, y'all. Some of y'all never knew how this character looked, but that's him. All right. So what we were saying, we're saying we were talking about apotheosis, okay? And apotheosis is essentially deifying yourself to become a god, okay? To become a god is a concept that is sometimes made complex, but it's very simple. Very simple. The complexity has to be taken out. It means to basically become a god. What does a god mean on the left hand path? Well, first of all, we have to get away from the spookism. We have to get away from the religious definitions. and really look at it in a simplified way, that means what? To take accountability and responsibility for your life, for everything you do. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, or beautiful, you take responsibility. It's easy for people
Yeah.
to take responsibility when they succeed, when they do great, wondrous things. But it's not easy to take responsibility when you make huge errors in your life. And being able to own up to that is what being a god really is all about. Okay. Now, Demetrius is going to read a definition and we're going to go from there. And then all three of us are going to break down further apotheosis, different concepts, different things. And as y'all know, the second half, after we do our lecturing, breaking down of things, we will be entertaining questions. All right. So hopefully some of y'all have some questions for later on. Now, again, we do not really answer the questions now. We answer the questions when we get to the question and answer portion of this lecture. All right. Demetrius, take it away, my brother. Break down your let's discuss your definition and go from there.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I don't claim to know the absolute truth, but tonight's discussion may sow seeds of hate and discontent, and that's okay.
Yes.
So we'll go with the definition from the Oxford languages. The apotheosis, the highest point in the development of something, the culmination or climax, like the his appearance in Hamlet was the apotheosis of his career. Another definition is the elevation of someone to divine status or deification. And a real quick one from Michael Ford's book, Apotheosis, by and I kind of like this concept by liberation from restrictive beliefs and attaining illumination towards shaping your life in accordance with your will. Apotheosis, becoming a god, is a continual state of achieving and acquiring personal power in this life. um Again, like Ravana said, this word gets tossed around a lot, and a lot of people kind of get lost in the sauce on what this is really all about. Um, Truth is that becoming a god is one word, and Ravana said it was responsibility, and it's responsibility for everything you think, everything you say, and everything you do. Now, eventually, it comes to do with responsibility for other people, like you're a teacher or a
Oh shit.
guru or whatever it is. But that's eventually. But first and foremost, it's yourself that you have to be responsible for. That's all aspects of your life, whether
Uh,
you are succeeding or fucking up, one or the other. So that's the biggest thing that keeps people
Shit.
from that attainment is the lack of responsibility. It's everybody else's fault but yours, even though it's your universe. And I mean, that's a little bit confusing,
Oh
hold
shit.
on.
you
I'm
know.
a, I'm a, I'm gonna mute you, Satuch Mus, because you
Smoke another.
sound like shit right now, brother. I'm gonna mute you for a little bit. I'll unmute you in a minute. Go ahead, brother. Keep going, Demetrius.
So it's a tough road to follow. You know, it's not easy. It is actually a tough road to follow. And everyone's, oh yes, I could be a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. Everybody's going to say that, but you're not a god until you have done your inner work on yourself. You got to get your own personal shit out of the way.
Facts.
And it's just you see this in and well, here comes the seeds of discontent.
Let's do it.
Like
Let's do it.
like in some of the nationalistic organizations of our people, you've got whether it's Nuwabu, whether it's Nation of Islam, Nation of Yahweh, all this other stuff, Israelites, whatever it is. Everybody's a god, but you ain't done no work. Or there's going to be some great solar alignment or something. Everybody melanated is going to walk outside and become X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not going to happen if you've done no work.
Yeah.
And not at all. You don't get that just because. There's work to be done. There's things to be done. You have your own inner shit to deal with, and the thing is, you deal with it all the time. There's no point of arriving. And I know there's books and things that we all read, like you got Michael Ford's book on apotheosis and others to read from and study from and things like that. Those are all great. I just want tonight to cut away all of the bullshit, all of the beautiful soliloquies on things. Those of you who have come to these live streams know how me and Ravana we do this. It's just a raw discussion on things.
Yep. And speaking of raw discussion, let's discuss that. Accountability and responsibility. Let's begin. All right, accountability and responsibility. First of all, you are not responsible for your programming up to the age of 18, meaning your upbringing from your parents and how they socialized you and conditioned you and programmed you was out of your control. But once you get to the level and age of an adult, you are responsible if you remain programmed, conditioned, so on and so forth. So let's get that out the way right away. Second, taking responsibility and accountability is to realize that you are in a physical body and you need to cut the shits to think that you're not in a physical body and that you're somewhere out here floating as if you're not a human being still. Okay? Because what happens a lot on any conscious attainment, right hand, left hand, occult, gray, right, left, purple, color, whatever, people have this misunderstanding of the knowledge. When we say apotheosis and becoming a god, we're not saying that you're Ra, Mus, Ahu, Mu, or whatever the fucking name you want to use. Okay? You're the incarnation of Tahuti. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that you have to be accountable for who you are and who and what you are in today's moment in time, and stop tripping as if you're some incarnated being from some extraterrestrial planet who is coming here and you're null and void and not subject to the rest of what we all are.
And that is the mystery of the spiritual teacher or master, the guru. The guru and the spelling of the word is what leads you to the understanding of what a guru is supposed to do. A guru stands in the gap for their disciple, for their true self. And when the student understands what all that is, the guru steps back, because a real teacher always points the student to their true self. Always. Never back to them. Unfortunately, again, these different groups that we have out here, there's always somebody in the center trying to be the Messiah.
And that's a fact.
All the time.
We have Messiah complexes.
Yeah. So the guru spelled Guru, which means exactly that. Guru. But now your responsibility and job is to figure out who you are. That's where the work comes in at.
Yep. And that's a fact. See, unfortunately, I came through this through the conscious community years ago, starting in late 80s, early 90s. I dealt with a lot of this God complex, Messiah complex from a lot of the organizations I walk through. And it's numerous. Okay. Most of these organizations were melanated organizations. And for some reason, there's always a Messiah complex or figure promoting and spewing forth all these facts and knowledge and wisdom and understanding and occult secrets and so on and so forth. And they'll tell you one sentence you're a god, but in the next sentence they're the most high god. Mm-hmm. See, this idea is not taking accountability or responsibility for self. What I mean by that is you have to understand that in this journey, you're not trying to suffocate, eliminate, or annihilate your human self. You're integrating your human self with your beast okay, beast-like self, to reach a harmonious integration between the two. We're not trying to separate ourselves from humanity as if we are not in a physical flesh. We're not in a vessel, okay? We are all subject to the laws of this physical vessel, but the spirit is something else and something different. And I think sometimes people get lost in that world as they attain knowledge and wisdom and understanding. They get lost and actually start to think they are some messiah. They are exempt from humanity, or they're not a part of humanity. Yet these same people have numerous amount of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Numerous amount of issues. They're arrogant. Okay, they feel that they are supreme in knowledge, which means nothing at the end of the day. Let me explain why I say that. Knowledge without application is useless. Now, that may hurt some of you intelligent, super extraterrestrial human beings that are here right now, but knowledge without application is useless unless you apply the knowledge into your life. And this knowledge you're applying can be applied practically. Okay, there's some knowledge you can't apply in a practical sense.
Mm-hmm.
So unless that knowledge is applied and you are able to practice the knowledge to see if the knowledge stands on its own 2 feet, if the knowledge can stand the test of time, if the knowledge can be challenged and still stand forth, then you have something to work with. Unfortunately, what happens is that many a times the knowledge we have is just useless information. We repeat and say certain things because it sounds deep, but at the end of the day, it's causing no transformation
Mm-hmm.
within the self.
And the
If you're
other
not,
side to it too is the subjectivity of some of that knowledge or gnosis gained in by one's work or meditation or whatever the case is too. Just because you have this experience doesn't make it some kind of gospel that needs to be shared with others. Now, you may have something that you may want to share, like a process or something that somebody may be able to else be able to apply. But turning into a spider and draining the energy out of an old identity or something is not going to make sense to other people.
yeah. Mr. Moose, so Tuch, do you have anything you want to interject on?
You got to mute it still.
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself. I can mute you, but I can't unmute you. Technical difficulties from a newbie on Zoom. All right, you there, brother? Now we can't see you.
Yeah, yeah, you hear me, bro?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Uh, no, I mean y'all on point with what you're saying. We've seen this for years. You know what I mean? There was a dude in Miami, talking about he's the angel Gabriel and all kind of weirdo stuff. You know what I mean? People just go crazy sometimes. But it's like that's not the purpose of all of this. It's not to inflate your ego to make you into some type of untouchable special being, I guess, and that's what people perceive, godhood to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to receive true understanding of yourself, true understanding of your life, and to be able to, live your life with passion and understanding, and to be able to share that with other people,
Yeah.
Of like minds, you know.
Yeah.
We live in a world that's dominated by, religious mentality. So it's no wonder that we see all these types of things going on. The leader that was once there to, guide you back to God, now he is God. So it's just a testament to, how these things have to be broken down and understood on a deeper level and how it relates to you in your personal life, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one, God is not this abstract idea that the world makes it into. You know, responsibility, self-understanding, just simple is more simple than, you know, the world would like to make it. But that's just my little input, brother.
Good. That's good input there, brother. And he's correct. All right. He's correct. We got to understand there's a process to this work. All right. It's not just reading information. It's not just getting a bunch of books and just overloading the mind with a bunch of information and readings and all these things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what this work is all about. That's the beginning stage. That's usually where you begin at. But there comes a certain point in time where you start to understand that your journey is way beyond that. Okay? Way beyond that. And
yeah, because speaking of that, people reading, just reading, gaining all this knowledge, that's a huge downfall within the conscious community as well, too. Because you've got people who've got tons of books in their head. They've read all kinds of stuff. And people flock. Oh, he's got, one of the things I used to always hear, oh, when I listen to him, he's got that knowledge. And they sound like crackheads.
Yep, they do.
It's like knowledge. Okay, he's read a bunch of books, but has he done any ritual? What do you mean? Oh shit. Yeah. So
and that normally is the thing. If you even say, have you done a ritual? Have you done any work with this? They look at you baffled, like they're oblivious to what you mean. And in the left-hand path, we have to understand this is an alchemical process.
Mm-hmm.
It's an alchemical process. And when you understand spiritual alchemy, you understand what you're undertaking when you journey through, let's say, the Qliphoth, vampirism, necromancy, the draconian current, so on and so forth. You start to understand that this is actual process. And where are you in that process? First, for example, in alchemy, the first step in spiritual alchemy is calcination. That is basically when you take matter, you heat it and decompose it. But what does that mean to you as an individual? That means you are taking yourself and breaking down every part of yourself that is getting in the way of your success, transformation, growth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to look at ourselves, because the only way you can get apotheosis, brother, you might want to mute yourself there, brother. But anyways, yeah, you sound like you're goddamn brother. Anyways, what happens when you eat too much pussy? But anyway, that's another story.
Oh boy.
So, anyways, so we break down ourselves. What does this mean on this journey? Right? What does that really mean? Breaking down ourselves is the steps necessary to get apotheosis. You have to be able to look at yourself from every different angle imaginable. Break down everything you think you know about yourself. Strip away everything that you've built up to be so holy and roly, so mighty and great. And you have to be able to look at it and say, is this a false persona or is this a real existence? Because a lot of us create a false persona to survive here in this society, in this world that we're presently in. But when you tear that stuff down and you look at the person in their very raw form, a lot of them are fragile, shattered beings within themselves. And unless you're able to look at that, you getting to apotheosis is a lot more difficult. So that's where ritual work comes in, because the ritual is set up in such a way that, first of all, you invoke certain energies to go within you. Mm-hmm. You're invoking energies. You're taking the energies within you. You're not becoming Lilith, okay? You're not worshiping Lilith. Oh, hail Lilith, thou art bountiful and beautiful and voluptuous and blah, blah, blah. No. Okay? That's not what it is. Though y'all love to some people love to do that because for whatever reason. What it is you're taking that energy that permeates with you, resonates with you, and it's essentially drawn inside of you, and you are using it to get deeper into your subconscious, where a lot of these issues are trapped, a lot of the trauma, a lot of the pain, plus the programming. You're pushing that energy deep into you to break free from those blockages, those obstacles, those programmings, those conditions, the behavioral patterns that came out of that. That is what you're using the archetype for.
And you see, that is the obstacle that a lot of people do not want to jump over, because it's easier to be in the space of worship, to be in the space of giving your energy out to something that's outside of yourself. And I'm here to tell you, and probably disappoint some of you, you cannot go into apotheosis while you're on your knees blowing some deity or some man or some spirit or some orisha or some naturu or anything else.
That's
You
facts.
can't. It's not going to happen. Now, in Hinduism, you have bhakti, which is devotion, but it's not giving your energy away. And I think really the first step in the whole concept of apotheosis for me should be cleaning yourself, because there are spirits out here in these streets. You know, because what happens when a person gets on their path, it's like a beacon goes up. And them spirits are like, oh shit, I feel like chicken tonight. It's dinner. You know, and they start telling you stupid shit like, oh, well, you're Raw's son. Didn't you know that? And now you're Raw's son. And you're going out there stripping naked, standing out in the sun and whatnot, getting arrested or sunburned or whatever the case may be. Um, you know, you need to deal with that kind of stuff, which is what what we were reading and what Ravana said earlier. Well, we all said you got to deal with all of that inner garbage first. And like you said, calcination, because I remember, the shadow work class, that first one a while ago. I told you about the dream, and I probably talked about it here. The dream that I had when doing some of that work was like I was in high school. It was the last day of school, and I mean, there's paper and shit all over the place. All the other kids are gone. I'm at my locker with a garbage can near me in this dream, and I'm cleaning my locker out. Then I looked in the trash can. What I was throwing away was magic books. So the message was I had to take all of the stuff that I thought I knew, that was knowledge to me at that time, and throw that shit away.
That's
so I could open my mind to something else and something greater.
Yeah. And with calcination in alchemy, it's breaking down your false ego. There is such a thing as a true ego and a false ego, which we'll probably discuss that sometime this evening. But it's also breaking down your self-doubt. A lot of us have doubt within ourselves. We may not admit it, but we do. We have stubbornness. A lot of us are super stubborn. Oof, super stubborn. Okay. We have a self-sabotaging mindset. We sabotage things before they even really get to the level that you need for your experience that will lead you to growth within that experience. Sometimes we just shut that down before we even get there because we're afraid of hurt. We're afraid of pain. Let me share something with you on this path. You do not need to be on this path if you're afraid of pain and hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're afraid of being hurt, you definitely do not need to be on this path. If you're afraid of the pain that comes from a relationship or friendship and what comes out of it, you do not need to be on this path, because that means that you still run from the very thing that you're not realizing you need. Your spirit, your true self, as crazy as it's going to sound to some of y'all, will lead you to experience something, a person, let's say, for the express purpose of getting hurt.
Yes.
Now, that may baffle some of y'all. Be like, why? Why would my true self do that? Well, that's because you're still looking at your true self as some damn angel, and don't realize this. Your true self doesn't look at things as good, bad, ugly, or beautiful. Your true self looks at what is necessary. And
Mhm.
what some of us need is to experience that pain and hurt because we've ran from it our whole life. Some
Well,
people run from pain. Some people run from being hurt. These are the people who sabotage relationships, friendships.
mhm.
They will run and hide as if you could really hide because you can't hide from yourself.
Nope.
You may hide from the person, but you can't hide from yourself. So what they will do is run and hide and act or say they're dealing with something, but the very thing they need to deal with is right in front of them, that person.
Yeah.
You understand? So this is what the true self in the alchemical process will lead you to. Your behavior also has to be analyzed.
Mhm.
Some of our behavior, some people's behavior is just out of order, son.
Well, see,
I'm just saying, dog.
that goes back to that concept of responsibility.
Mhm.
Knowing that to be responsible. And the thing is, it may sound new agey, but it rings true. You're responsible for everything in your cipher, in your existence here. You are, if you are saying that you are a god and whatnot, that meant you chose the life that you're in. And that's everything that it comes with. This is the world of sensations. We've been good, we've been bad, we've been men, we've been women, black, white, whatever it is, if you're dealing with the concept of reincarnation. But you chose this experience for whatever reason, and your true self chooses that. Like you were saying, your true self may introduce you to somebody that is for the express purpose to fuck you up
Mhm.
in one way or another, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally, so you can grow, or you can gain from that, or you can get, strength from that, or you can apply all of the knowledge that you've been gaining. So now you've got an opportunity to apply what you read instead of just saying, oh, yes, well, I know this. Well, that's great. You know it. But what were the results of your use? Huh? What?
Yeah.
So that's got to be used and applied in all those things. And and the thing with left hand path is it's a brutal path, a brutally honest one. So it's not everybody else's fault. It's yours. You chose the body that you're in, you chose the circumstances that you're in, and now you have to deal with that accordingly, you know. And there's a lot of victimhood in the world right now,
Mhm.
whether it's men talking about women, women talking about men, black versus white, white versus black. Um, all of the bullshit within the LGBT. I'm not slamming on the LGBT people because I got plenty of family and whatnot. That's fine and dandy. But let's get real here, people. Responsibility. Be responsible. Or stay the hell out of this.
Yeah.
Stay away from this concept. Be a worshiper. Be just live your life, and then when it's time to go and be recycled.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get there with all the victimhood. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. That's a fact. Mr. Satuch Mus, would you like to interject? If you do, unmute yourself because I have you on mute. Go ahead, brother.
Good thing you do, brother. 'Cause shit, I've been coughing like hell. But
It's the
I know.
pollen, probably, depending on
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm at the tail end of a little cold and stuff. So I've been coughing and shit. So, but nah, I mean, you're on point with what y'all saying. I mean, people, and, I think it's human nature to seek the easy route or shit in life. You know what I mean? That's what everybody wants. Who doesn't want to just get a job and get $1 billion 2 years later? Who doesn't want that? But that's not reality. It's just not reality.
That's
You
fact.
know what I mean? Who does? To get the $1 billion, you're gonna have to do way more than to get a damn job. You're gonna have to figure some stuff out.
Mhm.
You know, everything takes work. It's like I said, nothing is gonna be handed to you. This world or the next. And that's a lot of times people have that. I mean, that's that heaven mentality. I deserve heaven mentality, you know. Oh yeah, you know, I was a good person on earth, so you know, I get to get, you know, paradise when I die, type of thing, you know, but that's just not reality. You know, that it just don't work. You gotta be responsible, create your own world. Shit. Do what you need to do in your life. Be real with yourself, you know what I mean? Shit, you gotta live this life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people you know, I don't know, you know, it's like damn, you realize that you could die at any fucking second and you worried about the smallest dumb shit, you know, that wouldn't even mean nothing if you did die.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, people just don't understand the power that they have when they wake up every day to, you know, search to search. But that's it. That's it, bro.
Yeah.
That's
On you,
it.
sound like you about to choke to death over there, brother. All them female pubic hairs in your head. That's what it is. That my man's been going to town. That's the problem right there. It's all coming up, all coming up. Anyway, so let's move on to dissolution. Dissolution in alchemy. What basically is dissolution, right? In the first calcination, we start analyzing our personality characteristics. We break all that stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to looking at ourselves. In dissolution, what you're starting to do is you take a step back and you look at your inability to take responsibility for your faults, our repressed traumas, our inner tensions, all these things we look at. Why? Because once you realize how your personality is a result of this very thing, your personality is created from the result of your faults, your traumas, your issues. This is why some of us, our personalities, ever changing, and a lot of times that depends on how much work you do. You have to understand that after you analyze your personality, you start to see that there's more to the root of where this personality characteristics that you have stem from. So now you start to say, wait, okay, I have many faults. This is why we always say take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take responsibility for your faults? All of us have faults. If you say you don't have faults, you're goddamn delusional. Okay, let me say that again.
Or possessed.
Yes, possessed, just retarded, or whatever the case may be.
Take a spiritual bath.
Yes, you need a cleansing, goddammit. But anyways, what the point is that there's many faults that we all have. But when we actually confront those faults is when you start to really grow even more. Okay, some of us have bad tempers. Some of us are just always angry at the world. Okay, we're angry at everybody. And we want to blame everybody. That's a fault. That is a fault because it's a weakness because you are not looking at yourself and realizing that your world that you currently live in, your circumference in this world is a creation of your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind. All this is filtering out and therefore attracting into your life the very energy you're exuding, putting forth.
Yep.
Okay. And that is coming from how you view the world, how your traumas are, how your pain and issues are. If you're not taking responsibility and looking at that and saying, wait a second, this person, okay, I'll give you an example. Somebody in the room, without even typing it, said that they wanted me to give an example. I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. Let me stop. See, that's the spooky shit. I did that purposely. Anyways, listen, right? So
get everybody's attention for a split second.
I did. You gotta play like that, man. Anyway, so let's say I know some. Let's say I know some women who say, "Well, I always end up with the same kind of guys, and they always hurt me." Okay, did you hear what you said?
Mm-hmm.
You always end up with the same type of men, and they always hurt you. The man that you're attracting into your life, that man is an exact reflection of your issues, your trauma, your pain, your characteristics, your behavior. Everything is bringing that into your existence because your subconscious mind is sabotaging anything else that may be better than that kind of person. It's not allowing you to bring in something that's beneficial. So you keep attracting the same kind of men. Therefore, you create a cycle of repetitive behavioral issues that these men have and bring it into your life. Then you want to blame him for you getting hurt. No doubt. He's responsible for his part in why you're hurt. But you're also very responsible that you allowed that to exist in your life and you brought it into your life. This is why the left-hand path is not easy for people to walk because they don't want to take that responsibility. I'd rather lash out on that man and all men in general because of one guy who hurt me. And then I kept repeating the same cycle of all these men constantly hurting me. And then because of that, I'm tired of men. So I go and become a lesbian.
You are exactly right on that because the person who's hurt, they have their end of it. You know, it's their universe. Everybody has their own universe, and we're all simultaneously creating that experience at the same time. Like right now, in this moment, we're all simultaneously creating this moment from our end. Like an abused woman, she has something within her that beliefs, ideals, or concept may come from childhood or whatever. And these beliefs get reinforced because that is the way human beings create. That's what we manifest. It's frequency, it's energy, it's vibration. You're holding particular thought forms, particular beliefs, particular ideas and concepts. Now you are drawing it. Basically, an internal ritual is what you are doing. And now you're drawing things, you're getting results. That's why I just crack up when people say, "Oh, I can't do magic." What do you mean you do magic all the fucking time?
Yes, you do.
Like Beniti has a thing where he says to ritualize your life. I love that idea because you do unconsciously. You just be deliberate about it. So now she's drawing these people. I have a friend that had this thing, and she was going into this diatribe about not being able to find a guy. She says, "Well, most of y'all are locked up. The other part of y'all are gay." And I told her, I said, one, stop dating homosexual men, stop trying to date thugs, and also stop hating men. That last part is the biggest one because it's this issue with men because of father, so who, this person, brother, this last guy, and all this other shit. Stop hating men. Don't hate on this dude because he likes guys. He likes guys. Guess what? He's attracting them. You're not.
Damn. That's facts. But you said a key point there. See, it's always this deflection. We deflect onto people. Our very worst part of ourself, our issues, or all that pain and anger, we reflect it on someone else. And it's that part that makes people run from themselves. So if you, in fact, had a childhood where daddy was absent, or if he was present, he was abusive. Mentally, verbally, even sometimes physically abusive. Now, mind you, I've said this in plenty of videos now, and I'm going to say it again. A lot of our programming is not so much what other people have told you in the occult world. Most of your programming is based upon observable behavior. Observable behavior. 95% of your programming is based upon observable behavior. I don't care what anybody else has told you. Go research this. You will see that most of the time, what you've observed has now become a program within your mind. And therefore, if you observed your daddy being an asshole to all females, but more so your mama, you observe your brothers being they were womanizers, all kinds of stuff. Okay. And they were kind of reflection of of your daddy, and they kind of mistreat a woman, verbalized a negative way towards women. what happens is this is all in your subconscious mind. So you're going to attract a man that's just like your daddy and brothers because that's what you think a man is. Even though you know that's some negative shit, I don't want to do anything with that. That's all you know a man to be is what you observe. And so therefore, now you're attracting that. And you keep retracting that because you're not realizing it's a program. And without you breaking that program, you're going to keep that loop going.
Mm-hmm.
So now you hate every man because of what began in childhood. Okay. Yeah. Every man is not your daddy or your brothers. But now, because of the programming in your mind, they've become your brothers and your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I said then many women get tired of men and then go seek company with the same sex. But from what I've learned, because I know a lot of women who've become lesbian, I know a lot of studs, still titties under there. Anyways, let me stop before you spit on that shit. All right. Anyways, they've become into that world and they think it's going to be better.
And they attract a masculine man, masculine woman that's just as bad.
Just as bad.
I've met some of those.
Her belief is it's a woman, so she's gonna understand me. From what I've learned, and I have a lot of friends that are in that world, some of these females are worse than dudes.
Oh my God, yes.
And hurt you even more than a man.
I've met some of them. I'm like, oh my God, you womanizing bitch.
Yeah. You gotta understand now. It's not so much the gender. You just attracted the same type of energy from a stud or a lipstick lesbian, whatever the hell. You attracted the same kind of energy from that female, and she hurt you too, because it's not the gender. It's what's inside of you.
Yeah. Let's be real. Some of those studs be thick as hell too, bro.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We know the story. We know the story.
But that's besides the point. But I agree with what y'all said. Just you gotta take responsibility and accountability. Instead of creating this victim narrative of your life, why don't you create a narrative that's more empowering for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
For example, like you were saying, Beniti was saying about, ritualizing your life. And it's your life, so you can create whatever, like, I don't know, something that I would do because I'm just crazy. You know what I mean? I fucking, I have a ring or something, and I'll be like, I'm gonna fuck 4 snow bunnies and empower this ring with their pussy juice. And this shit is gonna make me successful as a motherfucker financially. You know what I mean?
I've done that.
So you get exactly what I'm saying,
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. You can do that. But if your mind has not realized that you can do that, then you stay stuck in that same vicious cycle. And that's what's happening right now. You're giving them a perfect example how to ritualize their life, how to empower their life, right? You could take a ring, you could take a crystal. Some of y'all are crystal lovers. You could take a crystal, you could do whatever object you want. Yes, you can charge it up by taking the sexual fluids of the partner you were just with, okay? Or a few partners, however the hell you get down, that's your shit. But anyways, you can take that and charge it up, and then you can realign that crystal or ring and say, this is the intention of what power is to exude and what I'm bringing into my life. You can do that. It's only going to work so far if you've done work. If you haven't, then what happens?
You just got a crystal covered with pussy juice.
Exactly. Go ahead, Demetrius. Where you said next?
I said you just got a crystal covered in pussy juice.
That's it.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because essentially it loses its power and essence if you haven't realigned your consciousness, your subconscious, and your unconscious. You understand? I know a lot of magical people that I first met when I really started doing these classes on Patreon and the left-hand path, right? Okay, hold on. Let's mute you real quick. So I met a lot of them, had great rituals. I mean, they could come up with curses, hexes, all stuff. But the problem was their life wasn't advancing financially in any other way. So what that tells me is that you have the greatest ideas, but if you haven't shifted your consciousness through work, through real deep subconscious work, you're going to keep bringing that in no matter what you charge up and magical and make it magical, because in essence, that is only as powerful as you are yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So my brother Satuk Mus has a great point. He gave y'all a real good technique to ritualize your life. Use it, but make sure you do the work before you use it and then start blaming him for giving you that ritual advice and saying it doesn't work. It doesn't work because your ass ain't working. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, let's back up a bit to where you were talking about the person having all of the beliefs and everything. Breaking that is what's going to put you on the throne, because you got ladies, oh, I'm a queen, I'm a goddess. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm a boss bitch. No, you're just a bitch. So you've got to break that shit. Those beliefs, you got to transmute those beliefs, you got to transform those beliefs and ideas and concepts. And you have to be honest with yourself, brutally honest. That's why I say that spiritual hygiene is important, to where you can get all them lying ass spirits away from you, all of that stuff, protect your energy field and all of that, and be honest with yourself. Brutally honest. Am I an asshole? Am I really just not as knowledgeable as I think I am? And all this other stuff. Or am I still hung up on my ex? All of this other garbage, work with that. And it's not only just people want to cut cords. That's always a big thing. Cord cutting. All right, cord cutting, that's fine. But why don't you dig a little deeper and find out the reason why you're hanging on to this person? That's what's going to really start to bring the changes. Because once you realize what that is, then the world starts to shift around you. Then you'll be getting to experience a little bit of godhood, where you could shift. There's nothing like sitting in the middle of some shit, and then you close your eyes just for a second, pop something, shift a belief, and watch the universe, the world change around you. Bell, book, and candle is fine. I love it. Love rituals, love going to the altar, but I love being able to do stuff standing on my feet in the pain of the world at any time.
And this right here, this dissolution stage, is when you start becoming more awakened spiritually. You become more mature spiritually. And sometimes your transformation, as crazy as this sounds, people, is brought upon and about by a sudden illness. Mentally, you may have a crisis. You have some issues in your life that cause misfortune. You find yourself in a pattern where you try to avoid issues, situations, or people. That is usually what happens in the dissolution phase. Okay. The separation phase is the third stage of spiritual alchemy. This is where we make our thoughts and emotions more defined by introspection, becoming more self-aware and analyze ourselves on a deeper level. This, my friends, is a little more difficult than it sounds, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm aware of myself. Bullshit. I analyze myself all the time. Bullshit. You analyze the superficial level of yourself, the part that's superficially easy to access. When you really do some self-analysis, you're going like really deep inside yourself, and you discover things that you did not know about yourself before. Like,
and
Go ahead.
Real quick about that before we go a little further. Um, I want everybody to listen carefully about he's talking about self-analysis and all of that, and being introspective. There is a huge problem within the spiritual community. When we think about doing those kinds of things, everything is above the neck. Everybody's here. Everybody's up here. Bring your awareness and attention a little bit down, right up to the heart.
Yep.
The heart's got a stronger magnetic field.
Facts.
And rest right there. And then start checking your heart. Start checking all of that via the heart vibrationally. Come out of the head.
And this what Demetrius said reminds me of a Sufi practice we used to do. Okay, back in the days, take your hand, put your left or your right, depending how you feel, over your heart, and there's a certain dhikr or chant that you do that activates the heart. Okay, one of the words is used in Islam or in Arabic to describe a different type of love, divine love, as some would say, is ishq. Ishq. Okay, ishq. When you pronounce it properly, not like this watered down. Did somebody snore? Anyways, when you pronounce it properly, right? You will feel it's like a guttural sound in the back of your throat that causes a vibration, and you feel your heart being activated. That word ishq, okay, causes the heart to vibrate. And when you bring the energy to this level right here, it exudes a certain frequency and vibration that exudes what some would call the green light. Okay. In Arabic, this individual that exuded the green light was symbolic of Al-Khidr. Al-Khidr was called the green one, which was symbolic of the heart chakra. This is why Sufis a lot use the color green. A lot of people don't know that because they're spooked out religious fools, but they use the color green because that green exudes from the heart chakra. Okay. Which in from the Hindu, okay, you have the chakra, heart chakra is really green and pink. People don't realize it's not just all green, the color of it. It's also pink.
It's like a watermelon slice.
Exactly. And the pink comes from the red. It's like a mixture of green and red kind of makes a pinkish color sometimes. Okay. Why? Because the desire and passion has to be mixed with the love. Maybe that went over people's head. Well, no, whatever. They'll catch it again. Okay. But so what Demetrius is saying, this is the authentic area. In Kemet, the heart was symbolic of the seat of consciousness. Okay. It was symbolic of the seat of wisdom, because they said from here it emanated a different level of consciousness, which was attached to a higher level of vibration and frequency. That's why sometimes some people will tell you, well, the heart was the seat of consciousness. Well, this is an ancient philosophy. Every philosophy that's ancient doesn't mean it's 100% correct. Okay. I'm gonna just say that because we get stuck on, oh, that's what they taught. That's ancient. That's true. Listen, there's a lot of ancient shit that's retarded.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Okay. But the fact is, this is why the heart was so important. In vampirism, something that a lot of people don't know, in vampirism, the green is also a color used by a lot of vampiric orders. Some people don't know that because they think everything is red and black and gothic and mystique and mystery, whatever. No. Okay. There's a reason, because a real vampire knows the power of the heart. They do. And they know the energy that it emanates. I'm going to just leave it there. All right. So, yeah. So let's continue. Self-awareness and self-analysis, right? Analyzing yourself beyond the superficial level. Can you do it? Can you do it? I'm going to give you a perfect reason why Beniti has said, ritualize your life, and why I say you are the walking altar. Because you are in the moment. When you're in the moment in a situation or issue and it's arising, you're in the midst of it, is the perfect time to analyze yourself. Am I being triggered? How am I responding now that I'm triggered? Am I becoming violent? Am I becoming angry? So you have to have rituals that will answer these things and have given you a level of control over the trigger. Go ahead, brother.
Um, I'll give a quick just a story and a quick technique when it comes to that. And y'all might be wondering, what does all this have to do with apotheosis? Like I said, we're not going to be doing all of this fluffy soliloquy dog shit that's out there. We're going to be giving people practical stuff. Um, I took a course called Avatar. Some of you might be familiar with it from a group called Stars Edge International. Because I used to have a really horrible temper. So uh doing that workshop and doing those processes helped me out a lot because it helped me deal with a lot of beliefs and ideals and concepts that I were holding on to. It helped me to discreate those and create different ones, which was kind of cool. Was really cool. And but one of the books, the very beginning one, it was the book was called Resurfacing, and there's an exercise in there called Minding the Edges. And the exercise consists of it's also an old ancient exercise. You get it from the Kahuna out of Hawaii. They call it hakalau, or in martial arts, soft focus, where you extend your awareness to the peripherals of your vision instead of locked in straight ahead. Because notice in school, they tell you sit up straight, shoulders back, give me your attention, and the teacher's draining out your kids. Um, that's vampirism at its finest. Um, but I was learning this technique, and in that section of the course, practicing this daily and all this stuff. And I was working somewhere and got into an argument with like the manager of the place. Started to get the snowball. And I said to myself, why the hell am I doing this? And I did that exercise where I took my awareness and I went to the peripheries. What that did was that popped me out of the situation, pulled my awareness out, and the argument ended because the guy looked like somebody hit him with a baseball bat, and he was like, what the hell is going on? Like it was like I disappeared on him or something, and then he walked off. This particular exercise is very useful for regaining your awareness and being in the moment when some shit is going on. When you're in the midst of something, because a lot of times we have the tendency to lock in. Like if we're in an argument, like at work, we'd lock in, or argument with a spouse, we lock in. We're getting drained in that space. Or, the person that's the object of the anger, a lot of times is the person that has the control. This will assist you in getting out of that. And it's just that simple because our eyes are round for a reason, but we lock in like a horse with blinders. Just take a moment daily to bring your awareness to the edges of your vision, to the peripherals of your vision. And it'll keep you from getting locked into situations, and practice it daily. Anytime you think about it, practice it. And it's a little weird at first when you're walking around because you think you're not seeing anything, but eventually it opens up. And what happens is even your vision becomes multidimensionalized. You're able to catch spirits and see things on the corners of your eyes and things like that.
Yep.
But it's a simple exercise, but it's a really powerful one that I advise people to kind of utilize as we're walking this path of apotheosis and talking about this concept. That's an important one. Not being controlled by these different things, so you're able to learn the lessons about what's going on or what you're getting from that experience, as opposed to being drained out by it.
That's facts. All right. I hope y'all took note of what he said, so y'all are able to apply it in your moments. All right.
Now, I just wanted to add on just a little bit.
Ahead, add on, brother.
Nah, just what you reveal from your darkness. There's a point that you're trying to work to get to, is that acceptance point. You're not there to vilify, demonize, whatever people want to call it. What's inside of you that is causing you pain. You're more there to accept that that's a part of you. And sometimes accepting that, it can be so empowering. Where you start accepting things about yourself that's really real. Sometimes you be like, okay, sometimes this chick that I met at the store, damn, I just want to fuck the shit out of her. I don't want to do nothing else, and I'm gonna leave this bitch alone. I ain't gonna never talk to this hoe again. And that's real though. It's raw. It is real. And people are like, oh yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. That's not, 'cause that's not according to the status quo. That's not good according to the status quo. But actually, that's a part of you embracing part of your nature. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you don't want to be, living up to the status quo of what people think you should do in dating and relationships and things like that. And doing what you actually want to do can actually empower you, or you know something that you were taught to be ashamed of. You start to replace the shame with acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So you test yourself. Somebody say, oh, you got a big nose, and that's all you heard your whole life. You got a big nose, you got a big nose, and you got this fucking complex in your brain about you having a big nose. And one day you flip that over, and you know what I mean, and you start getting lineups a certain way, and then you hear females like, oh yeah, I like your nose. It looks so nice in your face. Now, see, that's turning the knob the other way. Because once before you was filled in shame about your nose, but now you're exposing the beauty of your own nose in a different manner, and the women are giving you that turnaround. So now the confidence builds up, the acceptance builds up, and I'm like, you know what? Having a big fucking nose ain't so fucking bad at all, after all.
Yeah.
But but like I said, that's a part of that work. Is when you're revealing what's in your own darkness. You're not revealing it to destroy it. You're not there to act like a soldier.
That's facts.
You're there to embrace what's there and to understand it, because everything that's inside of you has a story.
Yes.
And it's a story about you that you haven't fully read. But that's all I wanted to add on to it.
And also, with the characteristics and the aspects of yourself, learning if they serve you, the beliefs or ideals, do they serve you? Is there a service to that? Do you get something out of that? Does that elevate you? Does it empower you? Is that something that is in service to you? If it does, yes, embrace that shit. That's that's that aspect of you that's what makes you you. Embrace that, use that to your fullest advantage. And if it's something that doesn't serve you, like an identity, because we all have them, so one identity or another that we carry with us, because you might be the CEO of a company, but when you were growing up, you were the baby. Now, the identity of being the baby may not serve you as a CEO, because can you imagine something doesn't go right? You pitch a fit, throwing furniture around, acting a damn donkey.
Some CEOs do that shit too.
Yes, I know, and it doesn't serve them.
Exactly. Back to when brother Satuk Mus said the knob, turning the knob. I use my no, let me stop. Yeah, I embrace myself all the way, buddy. I know how to turn that knob. Anyway, all right, let me stop, yo. Shit. God damn it. All right, let me get serious here. All right, so
are we being serious?
Yes. Partially serious.
Oh, let's be serious about this one thing, folks. Public service announcement: Ron Rico rum is not good.
Yeah.
There, I said it.
There you go. See, now you heard it straight from the mouth. All right. Now, this is where in separation is important to know the difference between your anger and your grief. Sometimes people don't know the difference between the two. Okay. The process of separation involves truly becoming aware of our authentic feelings towards others, but more importantly, towards yourself. That is the biggest aspect right there. During this stage, we choose to experience our anger. Listen to this closely. This went back to Demetrius saying this. This went back to Brother Satukmus saying this. We choose to experience our anger, our frustration or disappointment towards ourselves and even towards others, rather than reverting back to that old habitual shit of forgive and forget. That is the stupidest shit I ever heard and the most religious nonsense you could tell a person. Not everybody needs your forgiveness. I do not give two shits what they tell you in this socialized world we live in. Okay? Because many times people go and revert back to that. It's like a default understanding, forgive and forget, because we feel that's the right thing to do, or that's what we've been told to do. It's not always right. Okay, that's where you really understand this, through your shadow work. Separation is closely entwined with your shadow work, and we must allow those feelings and thoughts to surface within. We live in a world where you're told to suppress your anger, your frustrations, your disappointments, your sadness, your pain, your hurt. You're supposed to suppress a lot of this stuff. And all that leads us to being a lot of depressed people. Okay? It leads to a lot of depression because you're not giving life to it. You're not allowing yourself to experience it and understand it and embrace what it has done to you and where it's going to take you.
Or it also leads to out of control anger in my case.
Yeah.
Because I was always told that, oh yeah, this is so-and-so, be nice.
Yeah.
What if I don't want to be nice?
That's a fact. That's a fact. And we hear this all the time, but this part of separation, not only does it deal with shadow work, but it takes you into your darker self. Now I'm gonna get something straight with some of y'all, okay? Some of y'all were in my classes before. Some of y'all have never been in the classes, whatever. The point is this: everybody does shadow work nowadays. It's become a catchphrase. It's become caca. It's become middle stream, mainstream caca shit. I'm going to tell you why I say that. When you understand the concept of the shadow is a reflection of the light. You're not really going into your darkness. You're going into a shadowed or version of your darkness that still has the light in it. It's not really allowing you to go deeper. When you really want to go deep, you have to shut off the light. Now, that may sound crazy because a lot of people will be like, yeah, but I thought the light's the intellect and I need to go in there. Sometimes the light stops you from going there because you're afraid of your darkness. You're afraid of what you're finding as you swim down deeper and deeper. Sometimes you got to shut that shit off and just receive the darkness, embrace the darkness, and become receptive to what is deep down inside you. Stop trying to analyze it right away. First of all, just see what is there. See what is there about your darkness, right? Because sometimes what happens with people is I found this dark side about me. Oh shit, I don't know what to do. Oh, I should just destroy it, or I should just this. No, you're not. You don't destroy any part of your shadow. You don't destroy any part of your darkness. You integrate it. You integrate it with your intellect, and at some point you'll learn how to do that. But you have to learn how to bypass a lot of the fluff and superficial layers that we have built around us and inside of us to get to that darkness. That is the only way you're going to transform, is really understand your darkness and let yourself embrace it. Because sometimes we find out, crazy shit. Trust me, I've heard a lot of crazy shit from people in classes. All right? Some motherfuckers, listen. Some crazy shit. That's all I'm going to say. That came out their mouth, they just discovered something, and I'm like, hey, well, it is what it is. Years ago, I heard some dude say, he realized he likes trainees. For those who don't understand what trainee is, it's called transsexuals. Okay, so let me leave it there. Okay, I'll just use the politically correct term, transsexuals. All right, not the hood term. They discovered that. So he's telling me this shit. Like I'm supposed to have an answer for him. No.
I tell him to go walk on the wild side,
Yeah, I was like,
Buckaroo
yo,
Banzai.
yeah, I was like, go to that part of your town where they be hanging at. Just let it,
Hamburger Mary's.
yeah, let it
Shine on,
ride
you
out.
crazy diamond.
Yeah, let it ride out. You don't know what you're gonna find. But yes, this may sound crazy. Oh my God.
gotta get you what is that? Adam's apple with a big butt. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that,
You gotta, hey,
that's a crazy combination. But
you gotta
no
understand
judgment
when
here.
it's something that's suppressed
Mhm.
inside of you, it will come to the surface. How do you handle that? So I told him, I said, listen, I can't tell you what to do next because then, that shit backfire. You come pointing at me. What I can
Yeah.
tell you is embrace the fact that you realize this about
Mhm.
yourself. And in this path, yes, we do indulge, but with restraint. So you might
Yeah.
want to indulge with it.
And
Okay. You might want,
responsibility too, because
yeah,
some people's shit is just illegal and dangerous. But
exactly. So you
but just
gotta be,
embrace. That's where the concept of just embracing it comes in
yeah.
at.
Sometimes you don't engage in it. Sometimes you don't indulge. You gotta be wise enough to know when and when not.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you embrace it, you're now giving yourself the permission,
Hmm.
the permission to accept that within you, and the permission to allow your mind to say, I'm not evil because I have this thought, or I'm not
Yeah.
wrong because I have this thought. Because when he told me that, I told him, I said, bro, you just need to embrace that.
Hmm.
Okay. And then you decide if you want to indulge with it or not. I can't tell you to do that, but you have to determine that at some point in time. Some of you all on this YouTube land right now have some shit you don't want revealed. I get that. We get that. Okay. Some of y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like foot fetish. You like to suck
Hmm.
some toes. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all, some other stuff. But you know what? Embrace it.
Hmm.
That's all you have to do. It doesn't matter if other people accept you for what you like. That's not why you're under.
Shit,
This is why you're revealing it. You're
shit,
not. Go ahead.
one of mine. I haven't seen one of mine yet. I wanted to see like a thick ass midget bitch and some stilettos, and I ain't seen
Hey,
that shit yet.
you might see it, brother. They're all in Tampa right now. I heard. But anyway, listen, bro. So,
Wow. Ybor City, here we come.
but that's the facts, though. See, some people. That was another brother revealed that he found attraction to midgets. It's true. But see, you don't know what's inside of you because most of the time people only hit the surface, and you're kind of familiar with your pain and hurt. You
Hmm.
are, no matter how much. But can you go past that to reveal things that will shock you, like totally shock you, or totally make you scared of yourself when you realize how sadistic you could be,
Hmm.
how violent you could be. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be able to determine and allow yourself to say, yo, I got to really understand myself. And that part comes with going deeper into your darkness.
And one of the other aspects of that concept on the path of apotheosis is also the shifting of deep-seated beliefs and traditions and things.
Mhm.
Um, like, you may have been practicing magic one particular way for your entire magical life, and now you've gone through some. Let's say you went through the clip off. I mean, as I was going through my cliphotic initiations, the way I practice magic changed about 5 or 6 times, probably in 1 month. So, um, being prepared for things like that and letting those things go or changing those ideas and concepts, those and also those things that interested you at one time maybe no longer will interest you, or the friends that you hung out with, you really can't identify with them anymore, you
That's
know
a fact.
and being prepared for that and having the courage to be like, I'm in a different space and I'm going to do something else. I may not be in touch anymore, or just don't be in touch anymore.
Yep.
Having the courage to do that, you know,
Yep.
and being your own true authentic self. That's a hard thing for people to do sometimes.
Yep.
You know, and it gets scary because you've been raised a certain way. Oh well, you know, we go to church every Sunday. Well, now you don't.
Yeah. And that's important you said that, because you know the catchword right now and is authentic self. You hear this God damn, you hear this everywhere. But
Yep.
what really do people understand of authenticity? What does it really mean, your authentic self? It ain't the bullshit you trying to portray people. It ain't that shit. The
Yep.
authentic self really takes a lot of time and a lot of layers that you have to break through to get to
Mhm.
that authentic self. Right now, you might have done some work, you broke some things, but you're not all the way there yet. See, that's why
Mhm.
I'm going through these 7 stages. It's not that these 7 stages are the all stages of all life. It's just these are examples of different steps and processes you take. And I've just chose to use the spiritual alchemy process because
Yeah.
alchemy is something I study a lot. Okay. So, you know, when you do the cliff off is an alchemical process. That's why I chose to read and go over this tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, number 4 is conjunction. That's the 4th stage, conjunction. After these first 3 stages, we learn to integrate. Here we go with that word again. Integrate, harmonious integration, integrate all the elements that are you. And this brings about the process of conjunction. Wow. And what conjunction provides is the inner space for us to really accept all of us as the authentic self. Not some shit we just say because it sounds cool. Yeah, I'm being my authentic self. Bullshit.
Usually when people say that, I go, "Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Yep.
Bullshit."
Bullshit. Because your
Some of them,
authentic
some of them
self.
are clients.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because you hear it all the time with your clients. But
Yeah.
that's not your authentic self. It's really knowing the inner you. That's your authentic self, not
Mhm.
the persona that we created to
Mhm.
exist here. Okay, the character we play in this environment, in this society, that's not the authentic self. The authentic self is when you smash through all the illusions we created about ourselves and
Mhm.
delusions, and you get to the nitty gritty and you start to understand different things about yourself that
Mhm.
not so easy to accept sometimes, not so easy to embrace, but you have to. This is when you bring that integration, that inner integration through.
Mhm.
Okay, because without that, there's no breaking free from what has held you all these years. All right. The fifth, the fifth stage is fermentation. That is the beginning of our rebirth. This is when we're starting to be born again. So notice now it takes you 4 stages before you're reborn
Mhm.
in the 5th stage in alchemy. So the stages and the process is not so easy as people make it seem, because they read a few books, took a class here and there. Oh, I'm so deep and divine now. No, you're not. You're full of shit still. Okay.
Yep.
You're at the beginning stage when you get to fermentation. That's kind of like the death of a grape.
Yep.
Okay. The grape goes through different stages before it becomes wine. You're like that grape. And one of the processes of that grape is crushing the grape.
Yep.
Get that again. Let's say this again. One of the processes to create wine is crushing the grape.
And
You are
and
that
for
grape.
and for those of you who still kind of have some Bible stuff stuck in you, tribulation, the essence of that word is to crush. So
Yeah.
just to just to know what's in you.
Yeah.
There's the squeezing and whatnot after the integration. Just a little point to that concept of integration again is that um this whole work is not only it's yes, it's very personal and very much for you and your own evolution and whatnot, but it's also global too,
Mhm.
because your greatest gift to the world is the space you carry.
That's facts.
So if you are integrating all of those aspects of your true self, that is a vibration that is going to be good for others that are around you. It'll make it easier for them to do the same thing. That's what you're presenting to the world. That's your opus. You are the opus that you're presenting to the world. So don't think that, oh well, I'm just going to be doing. No, this is a big game
Yep.
that you are playing by walking this path and walking this walk and doing this work. It's important. This is why our world looks like a toilet bowl right now.
That's right.
Because people aren't doing this. They're just
Yeah.
they're just doing whatever.
Okay. This is important. I want y'all to really pay attention to this. Y'all might, for some of y'all, you might want to rewind when this actually loads back up to YouTube. So make sure you pay attention to this part. Fermentation occurs in two parts: putrefaction and spiritization. Now,
Mhm.
I'm going to define the two. Okay. Putrefaction. I like that word, by the way, but yeah, I almost fucked it up.
Yes.
Putrefaction is the decomposition of our former selves. Okay. It's when your former self is decomposed. This is very important because that process of decomposition is your inner death.
Sounds familiar, like we've been doing that here lately.
Tunnels of Set. This is why I did this. Why I did it, because I'm gonna tie this shit into the cliff off and the Tunnel of Set soon. The process of inner death by which the old elements of our conscious and unconscious mind are allowed to rot and decompose. Some people will call this the dark night of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
You will putrefy.
Mm-hmm.
Your inner self, your true self, in order to come forth, there has to be a decomposition of everything that you thought was the self. Okay? There is an inner death that you will experience. I don't care what spiritual path, what religion, whatever. There is a symbolic death that we all must taste on our spiritual journey at
Mm-hmm.
some point in time. For us on the Cliff Off and the Tunnel Set, we experienced it multiple times.
Yes.
Almost every tunnel you die and
Yeah.
are reborn. Almost every cliff fall you die and are reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say this before I go into what spiritization is. I'm gonna say this: these 7 stages of alchemy align perfectly with the first 7 cliff fall. Perfectly. Don't
Mm-hmm.
believe me? Check it out for yourself. Do this. Do the work. You will see that the first cliff fall, Lilith, right? You will understand when you align it with calcination, and you'll be like, it does have an alchemical level in the cliff off. Yes, it is. In the
Mm-hmm.
tunnels of set, it's very alchemical. Okay. And each one of these stages align with the first 7. Why? Because the three remaining cliffa on the Tria cliffa, which some call the solar cliffa, are the ones that lead to the ultimate rebirth of the human being or the person that's left after the process of alchemicalization in the cliffa. So these first 7 align perfectly. All right. Now, the second step or part of fermentation is spiritization. Spiritization is the stage in which we begin to look at the world in a new way. Because we took time to do inner work and we allowed ourselves to let go of all the things we hold in,
Mm-hmm.
we let it go now and we deal with it. We confront, we embrace, we do what's necessary. These things lead to our spiritual transformation. This is when you start getting a sense of more calm within
Mm-hmm.
the storm, more calm within the storm. That's why Demetrius and I say this quite often. Be like Set.
Yes.
Be like Set. He is the eye in the storm. he is the master of chaos because he is in the eye of the chaos, controlling the chaos, experiencing the chaos without getting wrapped up and caught up in the chaos.
Yep. And for those who may not be Kemetic, the other one out of Hinduism that to me is close to that would be Shiva. Shiva is the aspect of that trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Shiva is dissolution. You know, it is the dissolving of delusion. And you know, he is like the eye of the storm, always in a state of constant ecstasy, spiritual ecstasy, the eye of the storm, while everything else is going, all hell is breaking loose around him. You know, she takes his thoughts and give them form. She does the dance of creation and destruction while he dreams it.
That's right. That's facts. Okay. So now we're at number 6, distillation. Now, this is the level of further purification. Now, when you get to distillation, you're starting to purify the self. Okay. You've done the work of integrating the self. You've done the work of embracing. You've done the work of, death and rebirth. Now you're starting to purify the self. In Freemasonry, they speak about the rough ashlar. The rough ashlar is the stone that's usually the cornerstone of a temple or building. That rough ashlar is symbolic of the person. Okay. But in order for that ashlar to be used in the cornerstone of a building or temple, you have to perfect the ashlar, smooth out the ashlar. And how do you do that? By hits, cuts, strikes. Symbolically, you're smoothing out that ashlar, becoming a more strong building stone or cornerstone to hold up your temple. Okay? So in this process, when we distillate, we are now finding a level of what's referred to as self-realization. We're starting to realize things within the self on another level. That also leads to what some would say spiritual enlightenment. I like to use the word spiritual endarkment. You choose what the fuck you want. I don't care. Okay? So that's this. Some of the practices that are useful in this stage: mindfulness, okay, meditation, self-inquiry, so on and so forth. All right. The last stage is coagulation. Coagulate. I like the way that sounds. Anyways, coagulation. Similar to the blood's ability to form clots and stop bleeding, coagulation is the moment when we've broken open the head, snapped open who you are. We have become free from the mind, and our consciousness or soul unites with the materia prima, or the spirit, the demonic self, the true self. All right. It's at this point we found the elixir of life, who some would call the alchemists call the philosopher's stone. Right? That's our journey. This is our journey. Just an example of our journey to get to the level of apotheosis. You don't just say it. You don't just claim it. Like, oh, apotheosis, I'm a god. Nah, what work have you done to get there? We use this example to show you this work. It takes work to get there. This is why you will rarely ever hear myself, Demetrius, or Brother Sutechmos be on here, radio shows, videos, or anything, hearing us say, I'm God. I'm motherfucking God. That's not us. I'm not saying we're not a God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you've done the work, you feel no need to even say that shit. If you are, because it's a way you carry yourself after that. It's a way you live your life. There's no need to boast or brag of who or what you are. The people who are running around saying, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God, are not gods.
No.
They're trying to convince you that they deserve the title of God because they themselves know deep inside they're not there yet. But they're going to pretend and you know, stage it as if they are. These are your nature boys. Oh, sorry. Nature boy. Oh, did I say that? Oh shit, sorry. Nature boy, yeah, him. This the guy who got, you know, sent us to life, so on and so forth, who pretended to be a god. These are the guys who run around and say, I'm a god.
A lot of them that said that wound up in prison.
That nigga right there. Oh my god, that nigga. Go ahead.
Well, see, that's the thing, Demetrius. You're right. A lot of these people who have proclaimed to be a god are no longer with us or somewhere.
Like they say, Malachi Z. York is under the damn prison. I'm like, God damn.
He's buried under that fucker in Colorado. Do you understand? A lot of these individuals claim to be gods.
You mean to tell me the spaceship ain't come get his ass yet?
No.
Yeah, they forgot him.
Yeah. They ain't no fucking Nibiru coming. They ain't no motherfucking
they saw what they did to him. They were like, oh shit.
Yeah, they was like, nah, we want no part of this shit. That little fucking alien with the big ass eyes said, look, nigga, you are on your own, though. I ain't
they were singing Patti LaBelle on your own.
Yeah. You gotta understand.
Thought the nigga could walk through walls and shit, but go ahead.
And somehow can't get through the federal prison. Imagine that.
Exactly. These are the delusions of those who claim to be God. You understand? If you're a God, you carry yourself and your behavior is a certain way. It's not to promote that to others or people to say, oh, look, a God. You just know how to be within yourself in perfect integration, perfect harmony. So there's no need to be out here saying, I'm a God, you know, I do this and I'm the real God. And look, man.
Or some kind of magic trick or something. Here's the deal with that. Because people think that, all right, this guy levitated a cup or made something disappear or something like that, and that's a sign of great attainment. It is not. It is not. Like in Hinduism, you have siddhis. Siddhis are not a sign of attainment. Siddhis are things that can be gained through certain practices.
Facts.
You can gain these magical things. Anybody can be psychic. Know lots of psychics that are trifling. So you can read you like last year's newspaper and they're fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
So that's not there's not proof of anything.
Yeah, niggas still think it's like being psychic is something special or something, you know. I don't know why niggas think that.
Yeah,
we all have it.
we all have psychic powers, okay? We all have psychic powers. And what many of us don't realize is our psychic powers are the center of that psychic power is found in your back of your head, which is the reptilian brain. Now, what's crazy is that I remember years ago when I was in Nuapu, reptilians were villainized.
Yeah.
Villainized to the max. But yet, as you go deeper into spirituality, you start realizing that all this relates back to this reptilian serpentine energy that just is all around us.
The Indians got fucking temples set up to them, the Nagas.
The Nagas, that's what I'm talking about. We were taught to villainize, to just, you know, the reptilians. Everything is bad, but you got to understand that is your
so evil, brother.
That's your spiritual seat. Your psychic powers lay there. This is why they want you to villainize the reptilian part of yourself, because you won't tap into your psychic awareness or psychic powers. It's available to everybody, but are you willing to do the work?
Yeah, and also the reason why they tell you not to tap into any of that or divination or anything like that, especially in the Bible, because you'll see the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Like in The Wizard of Oz. They don't want you to see that shit. They don't want you to know.
Exactly.
And you'll be able to know the truth when you do that.
Yeah. They reveal all that is revealed.
What do they say about the reptilians? They say the reptilians is rebellious. They do what they want to do. They're aggressive. Yeah. This is what they say. And you know, they don't want you to tap into that part of yourself because as human beings, that's really who you are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know, when you're born in the womb, the first part of the brain that develops is your reptilian brain.
Yeah.
You know, why is that the first part, the first brain? You know, when you're in your mother's stomach for 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
you're breathing underwater. You know what I
Yep.
mean? This is who you are in your evolution
Mm-hmm.
as if you want to call it divine or whatever, but this is who you are. So, you know, teaching people to stay away from those qualities, what does that make you? It makes you weak, it makes you docile, it makes you
Exactly.
put up with it makes you put up with people's bullshit when you don't have to,
It
Because
you
makes,
know?
because your
makes you
your
easier to
limbic
control.
system, your limbic system is all about survival
Yeah,
and you know, being able to protect yourself
that's
and
facts.
all of that. They don't want you to be able to do that because a docile populace is an easily controlled populace.
Yeah,
So they can just tell you any old kind of thing, roll out some weird hologram of some white dude in a robe or whatnot, and you'll follow them right into some kind of jail cell or something.
yeah.
Fuck
That's
that.
exactly
That's that's a part of the that's a part of the trick, you know, to keep people away from that you know, the left hand path, the path of self mastery is to teach you that something outside of you is more divine than you are,
Mm-hmm.
and that you have to find whatever this is, whether it's God, whether it's the devil, whether it's extraterrestrials, whatever it is. You know what I mean? You know, there's something outside of you that's so much greater than you that you have to seek out.
Yep.
And this is the path of slavery.
Yep.
You know, it's the path of self suicide.
yeah,
Yep.
You know, because when you're looking outside of yourself and you're waiting on some divine event to happen, you know, you don't truly see that you're the one that have to get up and make a decision and to change the you know the way that the river is flowing in your life. You know what I mean? You're the only one that have that ability to do that.
that's
You
right.
know, nobody else can do it for you. You know, so yeah, people, like I said, that's the part of the whole mind control thing.
Yeah,
You
Mm-hmm.
know, you know, most of us, you know, we have this shit programmed in our DNA for thousands of
Oh
years
yes. There's an
to
actual
look
worship
outside of
gene.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is why it's very difficult for people not to worship, as you said, because it is an actual DNA. It is actually programmed inside of us to worship, unless you activate the other DNA, which is to rebel.
Mm-hmm.
Something you said, Satukmus, was exactly that. This path, left hand path, is a path of rebellion. We rebel against the status quo. We rebel against society's norms. We rebel against religious morality and indoctrination. Your very act of beginning to walk this path is an act of rebellion. But it is that rebellion that awakens that power within you. It awakens that black flame, that creative flame, transformative flame to do the work
Mm-hmm.
and transform to evolve to the level that you're supposed to. Unfortunately, if you come into this left hand path and you don't feel that black flame activate, you don't feel that rebellious spirit awaken, this definitely is not the path for you, because this path
Mm-hmm.
is not for everybody. We've been saying this for years.
No,
Yes.
It's not for everybody. It's a small group of people that walk this path. It only looks like a lot because social media is so prominent in today's world. So it
Mm-hmm.
looks like we're everywhere. No, we're not.
No.
Trust me. You can
Very
walk
small number.
outside right now, and the people you think are left hand path who are dressed gothic and all this other stuff are
all
most,
these upside down crosses and
yeah, they're just, that's a visual, they're just portraying a fashion. That's it. There, a lot of them, you even mention the left hand path, they won't even know what the hell you're talking about.
No.
Okay. Or you mention, some concept of the Cliff-Off, and they'll talk about some death metal or black metal band. That's got shit to do with the work, man.
Exactly.
You understand? This is not some music thing. This is some real live, serious spiritual work.
Yeah.
But this path is the path of rebellion. You are rebelling every step of the way, because in every stage of your transformation, you're breaking free from all the programming that's held you back. You're breaking free from the religion. You're breaking free from your culture, from your family, from everything. And some people, one of the hardest things for them to break
it's a
free.
destruction.
Yeah. One of the things that's hardest
No,
for
I'm
them
just saying
to
it's a
break free.
destruction process.
It is. And that's why we went over the 7 stages of alchemy, because you literally destroy yourself the whole process. You literally break it down into its very essence, and you transform to a new essence that you determine who is and what is the outcome.
And it happens many times over.
Over and over. It's not one time. We're not making it seem like it's one time. Don't get it twisted now. This doesn't happen once.
You have to
Go ahead, bro.
You have to have the bravery. No, I say you have to have the bravery within yourself to be able to embrace everything that society told you not to. Every single thing.
Yeah.
Even though it hurts. It hurts. It feels like it's totally against your nature, because it's really not your nature that you're going against. You're going against that programming from the day that you were born. Everything that they told you was right, and everything they told you was wrong, and now you're going against all of that.
And that is a hard thing to do. And for some people, it's damn near impossible, because, some people, they'll bail out of the church. They left the church quick and got right back into some bullshit that did the same thing. Hold them out spiritually to something else, whether it's some invisible deity somewhere or some inanimate object,
So let's do this. Before we take some questions. God damn, we're taking questions late today. Before we take some questions, right? Let's just say this. We just touched on some parts of Apotheosis, but not by any stretch of the imagination all of it. It's too vast a topic to just discuss in one evening. So we'll probably do a part 2 to Apotheosis, just to let y'all know. Okay. This show now, I'm calling it Thoughts and Musings on the Left-Hand Path, but I cut out the left-hand path, too much to type. Just Thoughts and Musings, because it's exactly what we do. We discuss these things. And when we discuss these things and we share it here, you best believe we already spoke about it before we even did it on the show. Demetrius, Satuchmus will discuss these things in our private conversations, private work, and things of that nature. But we bring this up because one of the things you learn on this path is to not only observe yourself, but you just observe. And so we observe a lot of what takes place on the left-hand path. And a lot of individuals that walk this path, we start to really see are no different than a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, or anything else. They're still religious, they're still worshipers and everything else, and they don't really understand left-hand path. They just were drawn into it. A lot of times they come into this because they have issues, they have problems, they have a lot of things they need to work on. And what they don't realize is in their level of worship of these archetypes or deities, even then, they're going to feel a change within them, because this energy from these archetypes or deities, whatever you want to call them, does still affect you. It does affect your subconscious, and it will change you. But why the work doesn't completely take hold the way it should? Because far too many of y'all on this path have now become religious, spooky worshipers. And that's why you're not evolving to the level you should. To be a god means you don't pray to other gods. Let me say that again, because I think sometimes people get this twisted, because there's this argument I've seen going in the left-hand path. do we pray or not pray in the left-hand path? Some of you fools pray, others don't. What I believe, and then I'll let everybody else interject. What I believe is, if I'm my own God, who the hell am I praying to? That's one.
Yep.
For two, what would be the need of praying to anything outside of myself if I am my own God?
Mm-hmm.
One of the largest and most important concepts you learn on left-hand path is you are the only God that is. If that is the case, then who the fuck are you praying to? All right. This is why some people did not understand the Nation of Gods and Earth, or 5%ers, when Clarence 13X in the 60s brought out some of the add-on or plus lessons that he added to the degree lessons that were brought there by Master Farah Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad. When Clarence 13X was asked, who is the original man, right? And in his breakdown, people missed it back then because some of his own students were still caught up on various aspects of Islam. He said the original man is the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, cream of the earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. Now break that shit down. What does that fucking really mean? Okay? When you look at that and you understand, if you are the maker, okay, the maker and owner, you are taking responsibility as an owner and maker of your own existence. You are taking responsibility to be the God of your life. Maker, owner, and cream of the planet Earth. The cream, the very essence of life is within you. And you can use that in a magical sense to create your life. And then you become the civilizer, and your own universe, you are that God. But it takes responsibility to learn how to make and create. It takes responsibility to do these things. They tripped on him when he said Allah is arm, leg, a leg, a arm, head.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, no, you can't do that. You can't do that because Allah is an Arabic word, and you can't do that when you transliterate it. He was like, fuck you. What I'm saying is, when you look at the essence, when we transliterate it into English letters, it's Allah, A-L-L-A-H. If I'm the only God, if I am a God, then I, as a God, possess an arm, leg, arm, and head. Pure fucking left-hand pass shit there. A lot of people missed it.
Yeah.
But it's basically saying everything is you, and you are everything. This is why they say they don't believe in a mystery God.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe in a spook God. And people vilify the Nation of Gods and Earth, or the 5%ers, for years because of that, because religious indoctrination is real. But they missed that shit. He knew some left-hand path shit.
But that's that's the thing about like some religions and traditions and whatnot. It's like they always give you like some little bit of the cipher. You'll get some kind of like offhanded or weird statement that always leads to that. Like in Ifa, they say the Ori is the most important Orisha. Well, what does that really mean? That means that you're the center of all that shit then.
Bingo.
So
look,
basically.
Myself and Brother Satukhmus, we went to an event. Okay. It was an Ifa event. And this is how they mix occult science with spooky religious shit. So the individual, this female, speaking, and she says, well, what really is this shoe? Now, this goes over the head of the masses of people that were sitting in that event, because most of them are worshipers, okay? So she says, a shoe, who's also known as a legwa, a legba, legbara, so on and so forth, right? A shoe really represents
subconscious mind.
Right, it really represents your subconscious mind. And a shoe's home is in the back of your head, because that is the gateway between the heaven and hell. Okay? A shoe is the subconscious mind, and is the messenger that communicates from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind
Mm-hmm.
for you to take action for your spiritual evolution. Now, that's some real cold shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then here's the next phase where they fuck you back up into religion. But you must worship a shoe. You must do your offerings to a shoe. Mm-hmm. You see that? Now, understand this. They're correct when it comes to a shoe. All right. That is a true occult science. But they can never let you break free of that.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore have to find a way to bring you back into worship and offering to get paid or to keep you under control.
Now, if it was me to do that, I would, if I made the offering and whatnot, I would have the awareness that this offering is coming to me. That's a triangulation between that aspect of myself that I'm calling Elegba and whatever goal I'm trying to reach. You know, if I'm going to do that, you know, in public circle, because you know, you got all them elders. I suddenly bust out, well, I'm Elegba, but then people are shit bricks.
Bro, they'll fucking crucify you like you in a Christian church. But I bring that up to show you that
blasphemy, brother, blasphemy.
There's left-hand path concepts even in a lot of these traditions.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is people still want to worship. So, you know, people have asked me in the past, well, can I work with the Orisha in the left-hand pathway? Yes, you can. But I tell people, before you even do that, first you got to go knee deep into the fucking left-hand path to even understand how to work with a shoe. You have to really understand what the left-hand path really is. And then you can best figure out how to work with
a firm foundation.
Yeah. But you have to understand, until you go deep into this, why you keep tripping trying to work with the Orisha, you're going to fuck yourself up because you still haven't mastered the left-hand path or even understood what the concepts are and how to work it.
Yeah, because they'll end up going right back into that. It's like with anybody with the church. They'll leave the church or whatnot, and now they want to go back and, you know, hang out and whatnot. I'm like, well, you have no foundation. So as soon as all that emotional energy hits you, because Christians work a lot with emotional energy.
A lot.
That's why they have the music and all that stuff. And as soon as that shit sweeps over you, you're on your face crying again.
Yeah.
You know, get that foundation underneath you and an understanding.
Yeah.
Then go back to the church with your family.
Jesus moment.
Yep. Now, then you can go back to the church if your mama or somebody wants to go to church. But I would say take some crystals or something with you to charge, because they ain't doing nothing with that energy.
Yep. All right, so let's start taking questions. So here's how we do this. If you're new on this show, then let me explain it. If you're speaking to Demetrius, you say this question is for Demetrius. If you're speaking to Satukhmus, you say this question is for Satukhmus. If you're speaking to Ravana, you say this question is for Ravana. Now, if it's a general question, you don't put that shit. You just say this is a general question and it's for all of us to answer, or one of us, or however we do it. Okay? So start typing in your questions, because there is a delay from the moment you type it to I actually see it on this side. There is a delay, like 15, 20, 30 seconds sometimes in the delay.
Yeah.
So please start doing it now. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to scroll up and read what questions are here. Now, I'm going to be real with you. If you are typing spooked out shit in here, I'm not going to answer your fucking spooked out shit. I just don't do that. I don't have time or the energy to worry about spooked out shit. Okay? I don't. I'm just being real, because I did that shit for years. I don't care about that shit. We're dealing with shit that, how do we work this? How do we do this? Blah, blah, blah. That's the type of shit I'm dealing with. So if I skip your question, you take it personal, deal with it. You're going to have to focus on yourself and shadow work, because there's something that bothers you about that. Can't help you. All right? I'm just keeping it real. Mr. Charles was here. You remember Jack Charles? Asargiddy? Remember Jack Charles from back in the days? Well, he said, "What's up?" All right, so
I remember Jack.
So,
what's up, brother?
I don't know if he's still here. He probably went to sleep. Or he might still be here. Vixen Goddamn. Vixen Valenzuela. Shit. What the hell happened to me just now? All right, Vixen. I know why I'm stuck on the Vixen shit.
Would you like some Ron Rico rum?
Yes. I might need some
You're a freak.
rum to loosen.
You're a freak, brother,
Yeah,
freak.
I'm
That you
loosening.
got
I
a
need
perverted
some rum.
personality, brother.
I need some rum to loosen this tongue. All right. Let me just say that. All right. So Vixen Venezuela says thoughts and muses, THOTS. Very funny. Let's see. Anthony Jahir, what's up? What's up? Jack Charles says, in other words, you become a true steward, a true steward of leadership over your life reality. That's facts.
Mm-hmm.
You are the only leader of your life. There's no one else that can really lead you. At one time when you're young, don't get it wrong, you are going to, learn from leaders and follow their example if they're a good example, so on and so forth. But at some point, you become the leader over your life. Okay. Let's see. Once you can astral project, you'll see the real homie. Yeah, no, maybe. And I'm gonna tell you why I say yeah, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Some people astral project and have no fucking clue what they're doing. They think they're seeing themselves. What they're seeing is a fucking goddamn crazy shit that they manifested. That, like, it is what it is, man. The astral projection. I sometimes tell I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of y'all have no fucking clue what you're doing out there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say what I usually say about the astral plane. It's the hood. Everybody's there.
Yep.
And then the astral plane is extremely plastic. It can be molded.
Yep.
So yes, there's a lot that goes on there, but also expand past that too.
Facts.
Because the astral plane is not the only plane. There's various planes. And the
Mm.
astral, as far as those particular planes go is next to the almost lowest. Like the physical plane is your higher is your density, your
Yep.
very dense one, and then you have like the astral plane.
Exactly. That's a fact. And after the astral plane, some would say is the spiritual plane, and after the spiritual plane comes the mental plane, so on and so forth. But there's different schools that look at it different ways, so you got to understand that the astral realm is not as deep as people.
No, there's
I'm
a lot
laughing
of
because
bullshit over there.
Yeah, I laugh because I think of all the people who just promote the shit like it's the hottest shit on the planet. Astral realm, everybody goes there. When you go to sleep and you dream, a lot of times you're in the astral realm. Just keeping it real, bro.
Yeah.
This, bro, whatever, all of y'all, it's not that hot shit like y'all make it. Your goal is to get past the astral realm, okay? To get to the mental plane or the mental realm and beyond. If you're still stuck in the astral realm, what the fuck are you doing?
And a little FYI, you have to do your due diligence. You have to do your work, because to really get to some of those higher planes and whatnot is not easy.
Yeah.
Because planet Earth is a prison planet. These bodies we're in are the uniforms.
Yep.
So there's a frequency fence around this planet for a reason. You have to get through that. Raise your vibrations, increase your frequency. That's why you're doing the work that you're doing. Build that power up and then step into your power and then get out of this shit.
That's facts.
There's two paths to that. There's two paths to that mastery. You can choose the path of indulgence or non-indulgence. I wouldn't recommend the non-indulgence. That's more right hand. That's more right hand path and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend it because I think it leads back here. Back to the same problems. You know what I mean? Because if you don't indulge in your true desires, you'll never master them. Yep. Sometimes you have to indulge. I'm saying in the safest wisest way, indulge as much as you can in this world. I think that's the true power to spiritual freedom, if you want to call it that, or to reach, what people would call the higher worlds.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's what they want to call them.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna agree with that 100%. One of my first mentors used to teach me that the way to evolve, transform, and become the most powerful version of you is through life experiences.
Mhm.
Gain as many experiences as you can, and indulging is one of the most powerful ways to reach those experiences. Now, he also threw this in there. He said, sexual indulgence and sexual experiences is one of the catalysts to transformation.
Mhm.
However, not everybody can handle what comes with sexual alchemy. Okay.
Uh-uh.
So this is why we don't talk about it all the time like that, because some people get lost in the sexual experience and never retain or understand the experience itself that leads to the transformation. Okay.
And again, this is the world of sensations. And one of the things I learned from the people at the Siddha Yoga Foundation was that enlightenment or awakening or what they call siddhahood can be achieved really by anyone or any stage of life. There were shoemakers that became siddhas, which that just means awakened being or anointed being, like a Christ. There was one siddha, a woman. She was a prostitute. Yes.
Exactly.
And a guru.
What's her
And
name?
her
I
she was a prostitute.
bet you she got a mean twerk on her too. I bet you that.
Oh, I'm sure she took them dudes there. But
Yeah. That's fact. Yeah. But this is one of the things that we all have to realize. Your experiences are very important on a left-hand path. Here's what I always share with people. Don't wait for your experiences to happen. Create them.
yes.
Create your experiences. Far too often people wait for experiences to happen and they never happen, because that's like waiting for Jesus to come back. That shit ain't gonna happen either.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind. Now,
People live as if they're gonna live in this body forever.
Yeah.
But it's like you could be going any second. And
Mm-hmm.
then what I mean? What did you do? Did you indulge as much as you wanted to? Did you do the
Mm-hmm.
things that you truly wanted to do while you was alive?
And actually,
You know
that's
what
the
I mean?
thing that draws you back is that desire for an experience. Because an example of that is in the book Autobiography of a Yogi.
yep.
There was Lahiri Mahasaya when he used to work for, I think, either the post office in India or some shit like that. He was walking, he passed by a cave, and he met Babaji, his master. But Babaji is an immortal master. Lahiri was one of his disciples in a past incarnation. And one of Lahiri's desires, deep rooted desires, was to live in a golden palace. So one day Babaji manifested that shit because Lahiri was walking through the woods and there was this golden palace there. Walked inside and Babaji was inside sitting on a throne. And we went in there, he ate food and all the other stuff. And basically Babaji was like, all right, you had enough? Okay. And made the shit disappear and said, let's go. Now we can learn.
Yeah. That's fact.
Yeah.
But far too often people sit on the sideline instead of getting in the game of their own experiences. But
Mhm.
To each their own. All right.
Yep.
Eric Jones says, "Do you have rituals to make your shadow self submit?" Wait a second. Hold on. Why would you make your shadow self submit? You're bringing your shadow self under your control.
I actually have an answer for that.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Confront it.
That's right.
And then embrace it.
That's it.
Or go through the cliff off.
That's it. You I think some of y'all missed the point. It's embracing. We're not trying to destroy, annihilate, or do any of that. We're embracing and learning how to work with it. Okay? So always understand I know where this comes from because there's people out there that teach this on their classes and videos. They'll make your shadow self submit as if it's a fucking. Oh gosh. Anyways, they don't teach you to embrace it. They think they teach you like the shadow self is like an ego or something, and your ego, you gotta annihilate your ego and all this shit. No, you don't.
Fuck that.
You gotta learn you gotta embrace that shadow self, man. Confront that fucker, dance with it if you have to. All right.
And if it doesn't serve you, transmute the motherfucker.
That's it.
and make it how you will.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Vixen says, I started dating a guy recently, but I'm realizing he's an alcoholic and has jealous tendencies. Not looking too promising. Yeah, dump that motherfucker, yo. Anyways. Dump that fucker. I'm gonna tell the reason I say that is because if you just recently started dating this guy and there's all these red flags popping up, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Because the red flags are not going to be overcome easily. As a matter of fact, if he's a control freak, I understand why he's a control freak, though. But if he's a control freak, that's not going to be a good look for you because he's going to suffocate you and suppress you. And there, the conflict gets worse between you two. So, jealous tendencies can be overcome. People have to be able to really want to work on themselves. This is what we were talking about, the work. Jealous tendencies are not something that's a fucking evil plague upon you. That can be mastered. But people don't want to master that because they think it's an acceptable behavior. It's become an acceptable behavior. Oh, look at how jealous he is. Oh, that's so cute. It's cute at the beginning. Later on, it becomes psychotic.
Yes.
And you're fleeing for your life. Yeah. And then you're fleeing from your life. You know what I'm saying?
And the other question I would have for this is like, is this person on a spiritual path? Is he a spiritual person? You know, I mean, one of the things I'm gonna have something to admit. One of the things about me, I'm giving it away. I'm kind of a spiritual racist. I do not like muggles.
No, that's facts, bro. I'm right
non-spiritual people. I do not like them, and I do not like crossed marriages or relationships, like interracial spiritual relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like Endora from Bewitched. She hated Darren.
Yeah. You gotta understand what the brother's really saying. We're saying if the guy is not on the same path you are in, you're already lost.
You're unevenly yoked, like you said in the church. Hallelujah.
You're lost. You lost. I mean, he's lost already. Two, it's gonna hold you back and hold you down. And this goes for everybody in this room, not just Vixen. This is for everybody. You gotta understand something. The mistake we make a lot is we think that, I'm gonna just date anybody and see how it goes. But you're on a whole different mental frequency and vibration than that individual. And if you connect to that person, right, and you're trying to date that person, you look like a total different person to him than anybody else he's probably met.
Yeah.
So this is where the jealousy and control freak nature comes out, because you're something totally different. You're abnormal to him, but in a good way. But he doesn't know how to understand. He doesn't understand it or can comprehend it.
You're exotic. You're unique. He's wanting to hang on to you. Fuck that.
Yeah. And then he started bordering. He started getting like baby dick syndrome and shit, getting all jealous about everything.
Yep.
And it's that mundane nature coming out of them because they're not really on that spiritual level. But Vixen, you can answer that if you want. Is he on the spiritual path or not? That's your choice. But we just threw it out there.
Like I said, that's just an aspect of me. So that's whatever.
No, but I'm with you on that, bro. I don't talk to mundane women. I don't. Okay.
Facts.
I don't talk. I'm not with that shit, bro. This shit's.
I mean, because what are we going to talk about?
I need me a thick hoe like Erykah Badu. I'm telling you that.
All right, so here we go. Anthony Jahir asked, "Yo, Ravana, can you shapeshift?" Anthony, my brother. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
He asked you, so I'm staying out of that.
I'm gonna answer it like this. If I could shapeshift or not, I would not tell people. That's one. Two, no. I'm just gonna leave it there. I wouldn't tell people if I could shapeshift or not. Really? It's no one's business, and I don't put that out there because I'm not trying to be these religious spookies who claim that shit.
Yeah.
That to me it's irrelevant if I shapeshift or not. That's my own personal work and journey, so I really wouldn't share that anyways. I'll just leave it there. All right.
You can teleport too, brother. But hey, brother, you can teleport.
Possibly. But anyways, right? So Rick Rubin says that in his book, right? Okay. The world is a toilet. Oh, toilet. The world is a toe-free toilet. Our mouths, neurological assholes, and psychologically speaking, we're in a state of mental diarrhea. Funkadelic said that. That's facts, actually. You know, there's a lot of facts on that one, bro.
Yeah.
All right. The book's name that Vixen was referring to by Rick Rubin is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. For y'all who don't know who Rick Rubin is, he's the one that helped start Def Jam before Russell Simmons did the okey doke shit. But anyways,
boy.
Yeah.
That's another nigga that lived out his true desires, brother.
Yep, he did. All right, so Vixen says Billy Carson talks about that worship gene you mentioned. Yes, he does.
Yes.
Billy Carson.
Yeah.
That's another story about Billy. I'll leave that there. But yeah, he does mention that. I think. Okay, Darvis says that's why when people who are into spirituality and they refer to a deity, they're referring to it as a physical being and not an energy. Well, see, that's the thing. A deity is accepted differently by all people. Some will say it's an archetype, an energy. Some will say it's a physical being, so on and so forth. Okay? We're all going to have our own personal views on that. And we're all going to work with whatever we believe personally. All I say is whatever the hell you believe, if it's benefiting you and transforming you, then it works, right? But if you're worshiping deity or believing deity is real and you still in a state of worship and not fucking growing or learning or changing in any which way, you might need to reevaluate how you view this.
Yeah, because tomorrow...
One thing we have to understand. So let's take the Orisha for a second. The Orisha, when people believe in the Orisha pantheon, they're believing that the Orisha are doing things for you. Okay. But in order for them to do something for you, you have to do offerings. You have to follow their teachings handed down to humans. Now, here's the situation I had when I got initiated into that shit. These same fuckers, Orisha, who are telling you to live by this, didn't do the same shit they're telling you, you know. Them fuckers are wild ass motherfuckers.
Buck wild.
They were buck wild, but yet they want us to act holy and roly. See, I have a problem with that. Don't tell me to do something that you didn't do, okay? Because you was acting buck wild and crazy. Now you want me to be holy and roly. I take that as a sense of slavery. You want me to be a docile, humble, accepting slave of your nonsense. All right. So when you understand this, right? I'm saying this for a reason. When we understand the Orisha, and if you say they were real people, and these real people then were deified, who the hell deified them? We did. If we deify them, then that means we're just as powerful as they are, and just as beautiful as they are, and just as amazing as they are. But we won't allow ourselves to understand that
they literally make gods in like Haitian voodoo, you know.
Yeah.
they literally make them.
They do.
They make Loa and whatnot. Even in like Palo Mayombe, making the Nganga, that's basically the creation of a god.
Yep.
which, guys just worship the shit like their mother and father. I'm like, motherfucker, you just made this thing. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
These Orishas, let's say if they were real people, they were smart enough to trick part of the world into worshiping them in death. So, they getting all this free energy
Oh yeah.
from human beings to elevate themselves on
Well,
another level
well, that
spiritually.
that right there is was the concept of like apotheosis. One of the ideals of apotheosis is that they did that with the Caesars, like Julius after his assassination and whatnot, then deify him. People
Yep.
set up temples and whatnot. Emperor Hadrian, when his boyfriend Anthonus drowned, which I think was a killing, but whatever, he commanded everybody to worship him, put him, set up shrines and whatnot. This dude was in love with that boy, but and made like temples to him, and he's become deified. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yep.
I'm in on the scam.
Yeah.
I look at it like, hey, if people are, ridiculous enough to put you on that pedestal, then hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So Darvis asks, general question. This for all of us now.
All
I've
right.
heard about the CERN machine back in 2020 and never could get the concept of it. Does anyone have any knowledge on it? And what's the reason for the CERN machine? I'll pass that along because anything related to stuff like this, I just get a headache, man. I can't do it. Man.
I think I heard of it, but I don't think I'm like, is that weather machine shit?
No,
No.
it was just some particle collider. They were looking for the creation particle,
Yeah.
the Higgs boson particle, what they call the God particle.
Yeah.
And these
Shit,
fuckers built this
shit,
particle collider.
my answer is you are the God particle, nigga. You ain't figured that out yet? You are
Yeah.
the God particle.
Yeah, and unfortunately, these clowns over there in, I think it was Switzerland or somewhere, they built this damn thing,
Yep.
decided to build this machine to collide these particles. God only knows what the hell they thinking. People always doing some fuck shit, trying to get to, like, why don't you just go talk to some ancients, talk to some elders, some damn well, learn something else besides building some machine to collide a bunch of particles to
And this
blow
is
up all
another
up.
thing. This is another thing. Why do people think that the governments of the world spend so much time, pushing propaganda into the brains of people every single day? Because they know that you are God.
Well,
They
yeah,
know if they can control your mind, you can manifest the reality that they fucking want in this world.
they're doing it, and I have watched them do that. Like here
Yep.
in Florida, we get hurricane season every year.
Yep.
And I remember one year, this is when I really understood that they manipulate mass consciousness. Because the thing is, as a human being, it is your awareness, your attention. Like in Avatar, they talk about attention. Attention is consciousness. And when you take your consciousness and focus it on something, it becomes alive. It gets bigger. It starts to get energized. It's receiving energy from you. Now this item can tell you about itself, or it can give you can give it life.
Yep.
So they for some, just out of the blue, like before even hurricane season started one year, they had the commercials for the hurricane tracking chart. You had to go to Publix or Winn-Dixie or somewhere to go get the shit, and they had a line. Had a little icon of a hurricane in the line showing it going to a particular spot. Shit you not. As soon as hurricane season started, that storm went right to that spot. I'm
Yep.
like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
they
exactly, and
manifested that damn storm.
They do this mass manipulation of the consciousness in Florida quite often. The minute they mention a hurricane is out there and it's possibly going to hit this area of Florida, it's a shit show here.
Oh yeah, you can't buy any spam, no soup, no Vienna sausages, nothing.
Water's gone immediately. Everything is gone.
You barely can get tissue to wipe your ass with.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yes.
Everything is gone. Completely gone. Okay. And they manipulate the minds of the masses to go into a panic. A panic. Then sometimes the hurricane doesn't hit, Now you just bought all this shit.
You got reams of toilet paper. Like,
Yeah.
what is this going to do? You gonna soak up the water?
Yeah.
The only don't it seem like the only time motherfuckers drink, gallons of water is during a storm? Like the rest of the year they drinking
They drinking soda
soda
and everything.
and all
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. That's the only time they drink. So we understand the mass manipulation of the mind, From what I know about CERN, as Demetrius said, it was like a particle collider. They did do this. Supposedly, some people say they opened up a wormhole and all kinds of shit came in, blah, blah, blah. Kind of you see that in the show Stranger Things. That's kind of what they were showing in
That's
Stranger Things,
probably
by the
what they
way.
were trying to do, trying to get
Yeah,
into the clip off. And I'm like,
exactly.
you dickweeds, you don't get into the clip off with a machine.
Exactly.
But
there's this rumor. It's an old rumor, but they were saying that the reason why they was looking for Saddam Hussein or something. They said he knew some type of gateway that was over there, some ancient gateway in Iraq or something like that.
Yeah, they always say that.
In an old Sumerian temple or some shit like that. That's another example of them talking about this gateway stuff,
Yeah.
this CERN stuff.
They've been trying to mass manipulate people for years. They've been doing it, okay? Because most people believe anything. Speaking of that, I'm gonna go over this real quick before I take the next question. Speaking of that motherfucking shit right there, all right? I'm gonna go over this because why? Because I can, okay? Why? Because I must. And for two, where the fuck did I put it at? Anyway, I'm gonna find it. Give me a second. Where the hell did I put this fucker at now? It's here. Where is it? Oh, damn it. Did I put it here?
be one of those
I know
things
where
you'll
it's at.
find as soon as we log off. Are we doing
No, I
another
know where
live
it's at.
stream?
It's on my email still. I still got it on my email. Hold on. Let me go into my email here. Okay, here we are. So me and my brother here, Satuk, we used to discuss this quite often back in the days. This came from the Swords of Truth book series, but there's a lot of truth in this.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna go over the first of the 11 wizard rules from the book. Okay, this kind of how Sith would look at people too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the total breakdown. I'm just give the abbreviated one. Okay. Number one, people are stupid. Why they're stupid? Because they believe things they either want them to be true or fear them to be true. So therefore, they believe anything they're told.
Mm-hmm.
This is the masses of people. They are stupid. Now, if you're politically correct, fuck you. I don't care. Being politically correct here, okay? This is left-hand pass shit. I ain't being politically correct. If this hurts your feelings, suck it up. All right?
Buy a helmet.
If you upset because I said people are stupid, then you're probably stupid yourself because you got upset. All right. The point is, if you're a sorcerer, a wizard, or magician, you really do understand that people are stupid. You can see how easily they're manipulated. You can see how easily they believe things. And this goes for a lot of different avenues of life. They believe whatever they're told because they hope it's true. They really hope it's true, or they want it to be true, so they accept it. Now, as a wizard or sorcerer, you have to understand the power of energy manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say this, you should be looking at this from a wizard or sorcerer or magician or witch's point of view, not as if it's speaking to you. Because if you feel it's speaking to you, and you might need to check yourself. All right. I'm just being real. Because when you understand the psyche of people, you understand that people do believe anything.
Oh yeah.
This is what we've been talking about all night about on the left-hand path. Literally, people will believe anything. They will believe that this archetype is real. It's true. And a lot of times we want it to be real or true because it may give meaning to our beliefs or meaning to our life.
And
As if you, yeah, go ahead, bro.
that's the thing. Like from a predatory or manipulator viewpoint, there is power in belief.
Yeah.
You know, you get people to believe a certain thing. You know, it's empowering to you, and as a person that might be doing something, and now you can accomplish a lot of things. Because, like, even in the Bible, Jesus didn't. He always did his miracles when there was a crowd. So there's people building that belief and whatnot. Then he can work it. Whether, maybe his viewpoint was to work it, to help somebody or whatnot, but still using the crowd's energy in that aspect and getting them to believe in whatever. And it's astounding sometimes. And I've seen this shit happen with, like, of all people, George W. Bush. I seen him do that. There was some kind of press conference or something. This woman asked him a question, and he gave her about 2 minutes of words about everything but her question. He goes, "Does that answer your question?" She nodded and said, "Yes, it does," and sat down. If I had false teeth, it'd been on the floor. I was like, "What?"
Yeah. A lot of these conscious teachers do that. They'll take your question and never really answer it, and then they make it seem like they answered it. And the person is so awed. There's such an awe about what the teacher said that they lost the fact that they never got the answer.
But this was a fucking seasoned journalist. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I want that power.
This is how you know people are really stupid. Look at the whole Nature Boy cult. That dude is the dumbest dude I've ever heard in my life, and people follow that dumb motherfucker.
Yeah,
he is stupid. That man's probably fucking retarded. If you actually listen to the shit that he say, that shit don't make no damn sense. You know what I mean? But people like buy into that shit. Like people are so fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Because
so
why? Why do they buy into it?
Yeah, people were talking about it. It was this I love myself and all that. That is the
see, they buy into it because they've done no work on themselves. So they want to believe it's true. They want to believe what this guy is saying is true. They want to believe all these things because they don't know how to do work on themselves. He ain't gonna tell you how to do it.
No, they created a mythology and they all fell for it.
Yeah. All right. So Grimmancy says, "Hey, big bro Noon. I look at apotheosis like every human body has muscles, but in order to bring it out for definition, you have to work out constantly for the upkeep." Yes, you constantly have to work on reaching apotheosis. Don't think because you had a moment of epiphany last night that you've all of a sudden reached apotheosis and you need not to do anything else. That happens quite often. You'd be surprised how many people do that,
Even if you reach that point, you still keep going. Even God still work on evolution.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Never. You should never stop. All right? Even after this physical body ceased to exist, you're still working over there.
Yep.
Okay? Adam says, this is a general question. So is the point to become that deity just to complete the goal you want to achieve and integrate the lessons you learn and then move on from that deity?
I guess what he's saying so is the point to become that deity. I guess he means like apotheosis, achieving apotheosis. Well, achieving apotheosis is just it's a constant like we just said it's continuous.
Yeah.
There's no end.
So
apotheosis isn't a destination, it's a process. At least in my opinion. That's the way I look at it. It is a process.
I think what he's also asking, if you work with a deity or archetype on this path, what is you trying to achieve or integrate?
He's basically are they like a means to an end, basically? That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I would say yes, because to me, the whole point of being a part of any kind of religion or tradition where you have a central deity or a central group of deities or something that you connect with or worship or whatever or pray is to become the worship and pray to.
Yep.
You know, you are to eventually become that. You are to start spending so much time working that you're gonna become that, which I think is what you should be doing, but some people don't because they drain out their energy into this thing and they're always got this outside item that's above them and they're always below it.
Yep.
It's the point that, you know, after a while you start to integrate those characteristics, integrate those things. That's why I think in Africa you had different cults, centers of particular gods and deities that you worked with a particular one for however long to the point to where you basically became that.
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
Yeah,
Right.
you master the energy,
Yeah.
and you, like I said, you eventually become that energy. You know, like I say, talking about, like I say, go to Egypt, you talk about Tahuti. You know, there's thousands of Tahutis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was thousands of people who held that title
Yeah.
of Tahuti. You know, that did that particular work, but you know what I mean? Or thousands of Amun Ra. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? But you know, it's just depending on what you're learning and what you're mastering. And once you embody that, yeah, you move on to something else. You move on to something that's gonna challenge you, you know, to push yourself to the next level, you know, of your evolution.
All right. Next question. Have we read Ayn Rand's work where she talks about some of the root cause problems like self-sacrifice, that is basically the worshiper mental slave mentality? She has some left-hand path ideas. No, I've never read her work. Haven't even really heard of her.
I've heard of her. I attempted to get into some of her when you read Ayn Rand stuff, you got to make some time
Yeah.
to get into that. Atlas Shrugged and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
That's about it. All right, this question is from the Way of the Sith. This question is for me. Ravana, is the king, warrior, magician, and lover useful archetypes for our evolution or perfection, or are those too simplistic? Well, I would say each archetype can be and is utilized on your work depending what your overall goal is. For example, the king archetype. As a Sith, this is particularly discussing the Sith right now. As a Sith, we all embody the king archetype because it encompasses the rule of two. The king is like the ruler, the master, and then you have the acolyte or the apprentice who wants the power of the king or the master. That in itself is a useful archetype for a Sith because you have to understand the aspect of what it means to be a master or a king. You have to understand that within yourself, within the bounds of your world. You have the warrior. That archetype is very useful to a Sith because you have to understand and encompass what the warrior mentality, the warrior energy is, and how to best utilize that for your spiritual growth and transformation. The magician, that's also very important for a Sith because many of the Sith, especially the Sith sorcerers, were magicians. They were sorcerers. They utilized levels of magic to manipulate their environment, to manipulate their world to create the world they wanted. So understanding the mind of a magician, the energy of a magician is beneficial in your progress, in your growth, and the lover as well, because you also have to experience love at some point in time in your life. We're not Jedi, so Jedi don't involve themselves in emotions. They don't involve themselves in relationships. That is forbidden. That is looked down upon. Sounds real fucking fluffy, doesn't it? But anyways, that lover archetype is very essential for for us to evolve. You have to understand the circumference of love, because with love can come pain, can come hurt, can come happiness, can come all kinds of things, but you have to embody that to understand it. So I wouldn't say they're too simplistic. I would say they are a part of your journey, is just learning how to apply them into your life journey. In the process, you will understand why you learned about all these archetypes and how you became all these archetypes, to transcend those archetypes to be your own archetype. Okay? All right.
Oh, before you move on, I want to step back to Iridu's question about as you mentioned self-sacrifice, just to expand on that for a moment. The path of self-sacrifice is actually apotheosis for the right-hand path, the path of light. And their primary image for that would be Jesus Christ.
That's right.
The good shepherd. So yes, on our side of the fence, the concept of self-sacrifice is yeah.
Kaka. Kaka.
not exactly what's up on this end.
That's facts. All right, so Vixen says, yep, he is already suffocating, which I figured. And which I also figured she might say this. He's only spiritual because I'm into it. Bingo.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in relationships. Therefore, what happens a lot of times when people come into the left-hand path and they're serious about it, when they really want to encompass this path and live it and embody it, the partner you came into this path with usually is not the partner you end up or are gonna have with you throughout this journey. A lot of times couples break up on this path. I mean, a lot of the couples that came into these classes did not stay together.
Yeah.
And that's because just of what you're referring to. He's not really there for himself. He's there because of you. So there he's doing it to appease you. He's not really doing it because he's genuinely involved and passionate about working his path. So, you know, you're starting to see that. All we're going to tell you is don't let it get out of hand, because if he's starting to suffocate you already, that can lead to worse things.
And him being in this just because he's a liability, especially if you are definitely starting to explore things like the clip off and things of that nature, because that could be fucking dangerous for somebody like that.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Yeah, he's just, he let's just call it what it is. He's just comfortable with in-house pussy.
That's it.
Yep.
He just don't want to do nothing. All right. The Way of the Sith. Ask me this, for me, a question to Ravana. Do Sith believe in exalting themselves, and how do they do that in their practice? Hell yes. Hell yes, and hell yes. We do believe in exalting ourselves. All Sith are on a journey to become a master. And the Sith current, to become a master, is considered to be the creme de la creme. When you become a master, you usually get a title of Darth, even though it became extinct for a while, was brought back by Darth Bane. You become a Darth. You become a master of masters. Okay? And your apprentice is always seeking to overthrow you, to control you, to be who you are. You are the embodiment of that power. You are the embodiment of the dark side to that apprentice. All right? So in your practice, you should always exalt yourself above anything else. You should exalt yourself, but this is more an alchemical process and a more internal process. Exalt yourself past the old you. The old you should be transformed. Okay? Should be transformed. So in your practice, you should be using a level of alchemy, which actually is what we're going to begin in 2 weeks in the Sith through the Shadow Work class, is Sith alchemy, is transforming yourself to the level of a master through an alchemical process that exalts yourself beyond the old you. Okay? All right.
Before you move on from that, because I know that was to you, but I'm going to usually on these calls I issue a challenge, so I'm going to issue one.
Yes. Bring it, brother.
I challenge everybody to get a glass of clean, fresh water and a candle and offer that to yourself. Set up an altar if you want to with pictures of yourself and things like that, and offer that glass of water for clarity of mind to yourself, and then that candle for illumination, for insight and for energy. Give that to yourself and maybe make a practice of it weekly.
Now, that is 100% beautifully stated. If I'm not mistaken, if I think I know who this individual is of the Way of the Sith. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to say this to this individual. As a Sith, if I'm not mistaken, you asked about the altar of a Sith. And I believe I responded by saying that your altar should be aligned with you. The altar you have should be all aligned with who you are. You are the master of that altar. You are the vortex, the energy. So I said, put what you feel resonates with you as the Sith, not so much other Sith on there or other things of that nature, more so you as a Sith and the master over that altar. That's if that's the individual I think it is, then that's what I alluded to and meant by that.
And into the space of ritualizing your life, see your meals like that as offerings to yourself.
Exactly.
People say grace, you say grace too, but to you.
Yep. That's facts. Everything should be internalized. Okay? Everything should be internalized. Everything should be about exalting yourself. That's what this work is all about. All right? So, I think that's about it. She mentions The Virtue of Selfishness by Ayn Rand. Is a great place to start. It's a small book. All right? So, we'll check that stuff out. Now, is there any other questions before we finish? Now, I'm going to give it like 30 seconds because, these questions come right when we're about to shut down. Every time. Does not fail. All right? All right. So, while we're waiting for questions, I'm going to give people a chance to say their closing comments and their contact information if you want to reach out to them. I'm going to start with Satuk Moose, who used to be known as the Sargiti. All right. He used to be on the Awakening Universal Mind show, for those who remember. My brother, give him your closing statement and your contact information if they want to get in touch with you, because my brother is going to start having classes in Tampa, live classes, which I'll be coming and helping him out with those classes in Tampa. So reach out to him.
So I mean, yeah, closes. Shoot, just they do the work. Understand. If you don't do the work, it doesn't work. If you don't drive the car, it's not going anywhere. There's no magical pill that you can take. There's no, just it's nothing. There's nothing that's gonna manifest out of nowhere for you. You got to do this work. You got to really go inside and do that deep, heavy work. So that's my closing statement. And as far as my contact information, I have a YouTube channel. God damn. I'm trying to work this phone while I'm trying to do the thing. Same time.
He got that booty call coming through. That's what the hell happening, brother. You getting distracted. That booty call coming through while you trying to break it down. See, this is what happens. God damn nigga.
What you talking about, bro?
Got that booty call. We know. That's why you can't work the phone, brother. You probably had a big booty come up on the screen and he over here, oh shit, god damn it, I'm trying to talk. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Brother, it ain't nothing like that, bro.
Oh, yes, it is. All right. Demetrius,
I
give
just get my information at another time, but
no,
shit,
just
yeah.
type. No, can you see the chat room? Can you type in there, or you can't do it through your phone?
Oh, let me see.
If
Oh
you
yeah,
can
I see
do
the
it,
chat.
yeah, just type it into the chat room, bro. Just do that. Yeah, I told you questions would start coming when we're about to finish now. All right, Demetrius, your turn. Get closing statement, contact information.
The closing statement is just remember apotheosis isn't a destination. It's a path.
Yep.
Whatever it is that whatever you proclaim yourself as, it's a path.
Yep.
So there's no I've arrived point to that. A lot of times when that happens, run when you hear somebody say that shit. You can find me on Patreon with Ravana. Because we do classes there together. Right now we're doing Templates, doing the tunnels with sets right now with him and then some of the vampiric classes there. If you want to send me an email or ask a question or whatever it is, you can contact me. I'll put my email in the chat, and you can just send me an email there. But just the main thing is just remember it's not a destination. It is continued work even after you so-called arrive. Keep going. There's more to it. You do the clip off, you finish the clip off. You're not done. There's more aspects to the clip off. There's a backside to the backside of the tree.
That's right. All right, my contact information is pimpdaddyravana@gmail.com.
Somebody will look you up at that.
Yes, they will. Ravana, you lied. I tried contacting you. Yeah, I was joking, B. Anyways, y'all already know my contact information. YouTube, Instagram. At Instagram, it's the Temple. Well, no, it's not the. It's Temple of the Black Serpent. Patreon is Temple of the Black Serpent. Okay. We have various classes going on right now. Tunnels of Set class. We're halfway through, heading on to the home stretch. Home stretch. It's very powerful class. Demetrius has some powerful work. It will slap you upside down. If you're ready to be slapped upside down and make him call you mama, then that's all good. Come to the class. Okay? Come to the class and you will guaranteed feel a change. Okay? There's a lot of work that we do in these classes, a lot of alchemical work, a lot of magical work, a lot of psychological work, shadow work is all involved and all encompassing the works that Dimitri is creating for the Tunnel of the Set. After the Tunnel of the Set is done, we're not done. I'm just putting that out there. Yeah. We're going to transition and change the name of the class. It'll still be on the same page. We're going to transition into the cliff off. Okay. And we will go through the cliff off again, all the cliff off, all the gateways or shells, as you want to call them. We will go deep into that as well. That's one class. Next class is necromancy class. We are going right now. I rewound the class and started from the basics again with psychic awareness, psychic work, to be able to open and expand your mind and hear, feel, or see the spirits, right? So that's another class that we're currently doing. We have currently 2 vampire classes. The first one is just the foundation, the basics, called Awakening of the Sleeping Dragon. There we're doing breathing exercises, meditations, things like that to build the foundation, because the vampire class in itself is a little more advanced. Now, I don't want people to go in there and be like, what the fuck, I'm lost. There's a lot of shit in the vampire class. I think there's we've created over 30 something works for the vampire class.
Yeah.
All right. Currently with the vampire class, the more advanced one, for those who feel they are more advanced in vampires, and we will determine that when you do the rituals, you'll see for yourself. I'm going to do a new working that's going to be prepared for the working that the brother Demetrius is going to reveal sometime this year, but I'm going to do this and then we'll segue into that. I'm going to create the vampire alchemy. It's going to be a vampiric alchemy, 7 stages of vampiric alchemy. Right? It's kind of like what we discussed, but from a vampiric concept, vampiric mindset. It's no joke. If you think you're ready for vampirism, you might want to do that. All right. And then from there, we're going to get into more self-realization, self-actualization, vampiric work that Demetrius has in store. Okay. I'm just segueing to each in class so you know what we currently got going on. All right. I have a mentorship class. That's where I meet one-on-one with individuals and we do more like a complete program. Okay, we'll do the shadow work, we'll do your life coaching type of, are you exercising, how's your eating habits, how's your habits in general, do you have bad habits you need to overcome, so on and so forth. Plus all the wisdom and knowledge that comes with the left-hand path is done in a mentorship class. We have a shadow work class that's just sitting there because for some reason it just sits there. All right.
People scared of that.
Yeah, pretty much. What other classes we got? You know, we got a deific mass class, but that's on hold right now. We'll get back into that. And I think that's it, man. I always forget one class.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of questions here.
Yep.
Because Fun Boy asked, do you recommend Works of Darkness as self-deifying by E.A. Coetting? I've never actually worked with that book, so I really can't give an opinion. I've looked at the table of contents of that. I mean, if that stuff works for you, on his way, because a lot of that seems to be, because I see there's some stuff with baneful magic and all this other stuff, things like that. I mean, again, for me, a lot of baneful workings are ill placed in my opinion. A lot of it should be placed towards dealing with the spirit world and spirits instead of the guy next door who lets his dog shit in your yard.
Yeah, and you mad?
And your cat, you're trying to flip his fucking car on the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I would say I'm gonna be blood raw like I've been all night.
Yep.
I don't really flow and work with EA Coetting. That's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I think the brother's a little too out there. To be honest, I've read the Works of Darkness. It's got some things you could utilize. To be honest, if you're doing Works of Darkness, that the kind of darkness he's talking about, the works in that book, is not really related to Apotheosis like that. It's just fucking shit up. That's really what it comes from that book, from what I got from it, Whereas if you want to master yourself and become and that got over yourself, then no, I wouldn't recommend that book. I'm just being real.
Yeah, right? for me, I mean, I guess I'm a little biased. I say the cliff off.
No, it's not biased.
That's just me.
Shit. It's true shit, because the reason we emphasize and discuss the cliff off so much because it encompasses all the classes that we currently do. In the cliff off, you will go through levels of necromancy. In the cliff off, you go through levels of vampirism. In the cliff off, you go through levels of black magic. In the cliff off, you go through levels of tantra or sex magic, and so on and so forth. It's all encompassed within there, okay? And this is why we go heavy on there. But the cliff off we're discussing is more from a draconian current. That draconian current taps more into your frequencies and vibrations, that open an awareness that is beyond what normally is discussed or elaborated on the cliff off. All right. So that's kind of the way we do that. And it's very beneficial because it hits on so many different levels in each tunnel, or each cliff eye hits on so many different tunnels that when it works on you, it's coming at you from all different angles. And sometimes that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
You got big balls, you can handle it. If you got big breasts, let me stop. For me, whoop.
I think
Went too
this
far now.
has gone into something else.
Yes.
The last question.
Going X-rated for a second, brother.
Yeah, the last question is by Eric Jones. What does the white serpent represent on the left-hand path? I'm assuming that's an alchemical reference.
Yes, it is. It's related to that. Also, the white serpent can also be related to Tantra as well. Okay. It can be related to that because you got white Tantra, red Tantra, so on and so forth. So if you're coming in from that aspect, no, we really don't work with the white serpent in that aspect. We do more of the red. But really, I couldn't tell you with that. I don't have a real good answer for that because I really don't use or work with the white serpent on the left-hand path. I work with the black serpent or the red serpent. Just leave it at that. All right. The Order of the Black Dragon says, I agree. It is a path. Yes, it is. I added you on Instagram. Added who? Demetrius, Ravana, or all three of us? Okay. Last question. See, I told you they snuck They snuck a question at the bottom, Demetrius. So people in your class that have crossed the abyss couldn't tell you.
So far, I'm going to say no, not yet.
Not yet. That's a fact.
We have not directed them yet in that direction. I mean, eventually we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is that you've got guidance. You know, you're not flapping in the breeze, but it's still subjective and it's still your own experience.
Exactly.
You know,
the abyss in itself, we don't just throw you in there, and just say, "Oh, figure it out." We kind of, Demetrius is guiding you from his experience on how it can help you. All right. So
yeah, it's no different than, why do you think, like I said, use Egypt for example. Why do you think that Ammit, the beast called Ammit, is the center of the abyss? And they say that those whose hearts, are not lighter than a feather get consumed by this beast. Because that darker side of yourself, man, it's no joke. It's no joke. If you don't learn to work with it and embrace it, it will destroy you. It will consume you completely.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
that is the experience of the abyss in and of itself. You're being refined and changed. It's like surrender and allowing the forces to work on you, but at the same time maintaining your frame. It's a difficult, like a juggling act almost. And not a lot of people make it. Because we all know magicians that have not made that jump and say, yes, I crossed the abyss. Yeah, but did you make it? Because their body might be there talking to you, but they're not there.
Yep, that's a fact.
And it looks like Iridoul answered that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, see, I was thinking it was the Ouroboros or something of that nature that you're referring to, creation and destruction, that concept. But I mean, with the left-hand path, you do go through that like many, many, many times over.
Yep. All right. So let's wrap it up because we did another long marathon of 3 hours or more tonight. Again. Yeah, we do this quite often when we do these thoughts and musings.
Yep.
So we will do another one. We may do Apotheosis Part 2, or we may pick another topic. Stay tuned. For all those, if you're interested in classes, we already discussed it. Is the Temple of the Temple Black Serpent on Patreon. Okay. There you'll find a lot of interesting classes with a lot of great work. All these works are created by us. Some of the works are inspired by, different teachers or different things we learned or our own path through this path, but it's a lot of this is fresh and new stuff. Okay. So it will be really challenging, but really beneficial to you. All right. So y'all have a good night. Enjoy. Infernal blessings. Goodbye.
All right.
Oops, let me go to, hold on.